Sucker! Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. The 4-hour radio extravaganza that is the Rob Brown Show starts now. Welcome in, people. Great to have you. Happy Monday. More importantly, happy football week. We did it. We made it. We had to hang in there. We had to grind. But we did it. All of us together as one. We figured it out. We laced them up. We buckled them up. We hit the chin strap. We slap each other in the helmet and on the boots. And let's go. I have to tell you, I woke up this AM with a little pep in the step, with a little jazz in the hands. I have been waiting, anticipating this very week. And for those of you that go, wait a minute, Rob, it's just preseason. Maybe relax a little bit. To you, I say, nay. It shan't happen. I don't care if it's preseason football. Because the second word of the phrase preseason football is, and I've done the research to prove this, football. It's here. It's arrived. We've made it. Congrats. I'll tell you right now, I was already pretty jazzed about it. But then I got a little tweet on Saturday. I got my push alerts on. And there's only a few people, organizations, entities that I have push notifications on for my social media that no matter where I am or whatever I'm doing, when that person or entity somewhere in the world pushes send on a social media post, my phone says, hey, so-and-so just tweeted. One of those entities is an NFL reporter that I follow who covers the Carolina Panthers. And I got the old push alert. I believe it was Saturday morning, though I'm not going to lie. A good chunk of the weekend is just a blur for me. There was a lot going on. But I got a push notification that said that there was a news update about your Carolina Panthers. And it's camp. There were practices. Fan Fest went down on Friday up at Bank of America. And I said, uh-oh. Because more often than not, when I get an NFL camp update, it is one of two things. It is Micah Parsons has officially requested a trade from the Dallas Cowboys. Not just officially requested a trade, straight up said, and I quote, I no longer wish to play for the Dallas Cowboys. I have submitted my trade request, quote, inside of a bigger quote, in person. Which, yes, we're going to talk about later on in the show. Usually it's something like that. Or Washington Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin has requested a trade away from the team. And by the way, those are two different stories with I think, very different backgrounds to them. We're going to address that later in the show because the Rob Brown Show is in all the sports show. And I said, uh-oh, did somebody request to be traded? I thought everybody was just honky-dory up there in Charlotte, North Carolina. No, that is not the case. And then, the second thought was, ordinarily, when I get a camp update in the middle of nowhere, at the middle of no time, ordinarily, I'm like, uh-oh, somebody done got hurt. Somebody got busted up. I, in a fairly depressing way, fully expected that I was going to open that push notification to find out that so-and-so is hurt. I'm not going to say any names because I don't wish to put the gree into the universe and it somehow be labeled my fault. So I said, uh-oh, Nondescript, non-name
Were
Panthers
you
player.
thinking a certain side of the ball when you were thinking?
No,
that?
I didn't have any thought as to who it was.
Okay, all right.
I absolutely did, but I'm not even going to insinuate that, just in case. JIC, as the kids say. So I said, let's woosah. Let's take just a minute here. Let's compose ourselves. Let's open this, and let's prepare to address whatever catastrophic news I'm about to receive on Monday's show. And so time slowed for just a moment. Everything just slowed down. And I opened it, and the push notification said, Carolina Panthers to play all starters for first half of first 2 preseason games.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I said.
There you go. I'm that's this Friday, right?
That is
I believe
this Friday.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Looking forward to that.
And I said to myself, hey-o. I like that. I like that. Now, in years gone by, I might have said, I don't like that. I might have said, I don't like that because of aforementioned injury concerns. I might have said that because I go, hey, Dave, there's a reason that most coaches don't play their starters for more than a few snaps in any given preseason game. There's a reason for that. And you should follow the prescribed template of successful coaches. That's why they're successful. So you should do that. But that is not the gut reaction that I had. The gut reaction that I had was, and maybe it's just me, but I don't think it is, because I've won some people over on the BetMGM network amongst other broadcasting destinations and outlets on which I have participated in National Football League preseason prognostications. I have won some people over on doing as I have done. And keep in mind, this is not a blow smoke up the skirt take. I am not a fan of your team as a radio dude or as a dude. I am a fan of your team in that if the Panthers win, Daddy makes more money. And there are very few things that I love more than money. The list is almost exclusively wife, mom, dogs, nephew, 2 out of every 3 business days, brother. Like that's the list of things I like more than money.
Now I'm trying to figure out, are you more Scrooge McDuck or Mr. Krabs? I don't know which one.
Well, I mean, Scrooge McDuck would require me to have a vault of money in which to dive and love money so much I defy the laws of physics by being able to dive into a foundation of solid metal. That needs to be addressed. How did he swim in gold coins?
He's a duck.
I've never seen a duck swim on a sidewalk. It's solid metal. They're coins. It's solid metal.
Yeah, but there's space in between, and that's
correct.
Where
but
went
coins are
space
also
in
heavy.
between.
And then he blows them out of his mouth like Triple H up in the air. Gold coins. Come on, like the billionaire talking anthropomorphic duck I can get behind. The ability to load gold coins into his mouth and Triple H them into the air while swimming the backstroke through solid metal, past the point of believability, even for you, DuckTales, a woo-woo. We'll come to that later.
Yeah, your disparaging comments towards Scrooge McDuck are bothering me.
Well, he's a billionaire. Yeah. You know my feelings. So, I'm on board with that this year. And I'm on board with that this year because, as again, I have won a bunch of people over with the take that this team can, and I am even getting to the point where I'm talking myself into the belief should, not can, should win the division. The Saints are putting the ass in. Not fantastic, Bob. I think it's step back here for the Buccaneers. I can't imagine a world in which they successfully hit on not 1, not 2, but 3 straight good offensive coordinators. They got to reset there, I think. The Falcons, until they prove otherwise, remain the Falcons. I'm getting to a point where I believe the Panthers should win the division. And so I thought to myself, are you overdoing it, Davo? Dano, are you allowing him to overdo it? Is there a point that the GM should step in and say, Coach, not a great idea? But the more I've thought about it, the more I've reached the conclusion that no, because you have got to reboot everything. You've got an opportunity this year. It is no longer, oh, this team could win the division. It is now, to me, this team should be the team that wins the division. And again, not blowing smoke, because I don't like any of the other teams in the division in which my personal team plays for. Just looking at it from the neutral observer standpoint, who is going to call the shots the way I see the shots for that football team and the other teams in that division, because it's my job, I honestly think you should win the division this year. I think that's how much of a step forward it's taken. So I also recognize that in order to do so, the funk that has permeated this football program for the past a lot of the years, all of them since I've gotten here, and a lot of them before that. In order to dispel the funk, a total system reboot must be established. You know how sometimes your computer's running real slow? You know how sometimes your computer's all jacked up? And if you're like me and not a big smart computer boy, the old solution is the classic, turn it off and then on again. Give it a second to breathe and think, and let's see if that makes it better. I'm kind of there. You've updated the software, the hardware, the firmware, the whatever wares, the underwear that you need to reboot. So let's turn it off and off again. And I think by getting away from this is how it's done here and saying this is what we do, I think that's a good thing. And I understand, like, this isn't a monumental thing. We're not, if the Panthers win this division and get into the playoffs and host a playoff game this year, I don't think at the end of the year anybody is going to look back and credit that success to Dave Canales played his starters for 2 quarters of 2 preseason games. What I am saying is the way that this football team has operated for the past couple of years isn't good enough anymore. And this is one way of many that we have seen from the draft. I have leaned on that story about Dave Tepper in the blueprint when they showed the night of the draft when they drafted McMillan. And I have leaned very heavily on Canales and Morgan getting on the phone with the Cardinals because they had a trade deal worked out. Where if we get to our pick at 8 and McMillan's still on the board, the Cardinals were going to send a Pirates chest of booty over to the Panthers in return for that number 8 pick to draft McMillan. And Morgan and Canales are on the phone with the Cardinals. The Cardinals renege a little bit on their trade offer. Morgan and Canales are like, no, dude, you're going to give us what you offered or we're not going to give you the pick. And the Cardinals said, okay, cool, keep the pick, draft the guy. And they look at Dave Tepper, and that's a moment in years gone by that Tepper would have said, here's what I want done. But he did not. He leaned back in the chair, he crossed the arms, and he gave them the old nod like, make your decision, fellas. Make your decision. It's time for football guys to do football things. And ever since that moment, a moment that if this team does achieve what I think they should achieve this year, ever since that moment, it has felt to me as if this is a different football year. So when I got that notification, the thought I had after I went through the absolute panic that something has gone catastrophically wrong in a year which things could go marvelously right. After I got past the panic and opened it and read that, I had the thought, this feels like we're not going to do it the way that A, we have done it, and B, everybody else has done it. And yes, there is the possibility that with extended expanded, those two words together. With extended and expanded preseason playing time, somebody could get hurt. Something could go wrong. They look like booty on offense or defense, and they expose themselves a little bit. All of those are realistic possibilities. You know what else is a realistic possibility? They click. They give themselves, effectively, by playing 2 quarters of 2 preseason games, they give themselves 1 regular game to find the pace, the rhythm, the timing, the organic chemistry that they need to work on growing. And the fact that, and this is just my take on it, the fact that they see that as a realistic probability and are going to embrace the opportunity to have 1 full game to find the timing and the rhythm and the routine with the additions they've made on the offensive line by switching, scrambling up a wide receiver room, and maybe more importantly, they still got to figure out who the hell's going to be on the roster on opening day out of the receiver room because there's a lot of dudes playing out of their minds. The problem is there's a lot of dudes.
Is it possible that really what they're doing is they know what they got, they believe that this is going to be good, and they're just showcasing for ticket sales?
I would say no. And my thought, this is a theory. I would say no in that. What is the numero uno way to sell tickets? Win football games. I am a lot more inclined to go to a game if I think, if nothing else, think my team has a chance to win. Real quick anecdote to make that point. I was talking to the fellas that for those of you that have maybe not listened to the show every day, your boy has been I was pretty much bought into. Your boy was going to go up to Buffalo, New York this year because my New Orleans Saints are on the road at Josh Allen, and his Buffalo Bills. And your boy was going to fly up there. I've got a friend of mine used to live here. Now he lives in the Great White North. His parents are from Buffalo. They live right by the stadium. I looked up tickets this weekend because it was time to put together the trip. And so I looked up plane tickets on Friday, and they're not cheap. It's going to cost me like $400 to fly up there and back. But hey, once in a lifetime opportunity to go watch my team play for, by the way, last year at their current stadium, the Buffalo Bills. They move into the new stadium next year. Wonderful opportunity. There was going to be me and a couple of fellas from the GVL flying up to meet a dear friend of ours that now lives up there. And then I looked up tickets to that game. Great one. Rafter seats, upper deck, top of the stadium. Also, by the way, late September in Buffalo. And I don't think it's like winter cold there yet. But like up in the top of that stadium, it's a maelstrom. It's just a hurricane up there because it's an open air stadium in upstate New York. Upper deck, top row, great one. $400 for a football ticket.
Well, I mean, this is a team that's in the running for the Super Bowl and championships every single year. Did you expect it to be cheap?
I didn't expect it to be cheap. I didn't expect the rafters to be $400. Well, there's no rafters. It's open air. But like the top of the stadium to be $400. And I got to tell you, once I said, all right, I'm in between the ticket, between the airline flight, between the getting a car, even though I've got a free place to stay, I'm in for like $1,400 before feet hit ground in Buffalo, New York. And I called my buddy that lives up there, and I'm like, dude, I don't think I'm coming, man. I'm sorry. I can't do $1,500 to go watch my team lose by 50 because they're going to. If my team was a Super Bowl threat this year, I'm out $1,500 and I never think about it. If I think this is a game, I'm out $1,500 and it's not even a thought for me. I'm like, yo, I'm taking Buffalo, New York off the NFL Stadium's visited list. But $1,500 to fly up there to watch my team lose by 40 to Josh Allen. I'll just wait till Buffalo plays in Charlotte and I'll go watch Josh Allen in person here. Granted, Carolina's going to lose that game by 20, but it's not going to cost me $1,500. I think that's kind of the mindset here with his team. Winning games makes everything better. Winning playoff games, yeah, it'll up the excitement a little bit. But the mentality of preseason games for most of us is what? Great job. Let's see you do it in the regular season. I think the reality here is twofold. Number one, I think they want to give BY as much opportunity to work with a new, granted some guys have been on it, but new wide receiver setup. Ted McMillan at the 1, XL at the 2, Adam Thielen in the slot, Hunter Renfrow / Jimmy Horn Jr. as your fill-in utility 5 wide guys, whatever. I think you want to give a full game over the preseason to get there and not do it the way it's always been done in years that when it's been done, it's been bad. I think this is a matter of Dave Canales going, yeah, we might have to put a little bit more on tape than we'd like. However, if we can get these boys right, if we can hit the ground week 1 with plenty of time to click, we'll give ourselves a chance to win every game. And in a year that the Cats are, I think, not division contenders, I make the argument they should be the odds-on favorites. I think it feels like a good opportunity that they are taking, and I like that. We're going to talk some preseason football, but because preseason football is here. Lonzo and I got to recap some of, not all of, because we do have Fight Club Thursday at 9:20, some of the big moments of SummerSlam over the weekend. Luka Doncic got paid, and we're going to talk a little bit of college football. All coming up this morning on The Rob Brown Show and The Fan Upstate. All right, good morning, people. Great to have you. Thanks for being here. Stay right there. We're coming right back. So before we get rocking and rolling into the world of sports, I guess we should say hello. Hi, welcome in the Rob Brown Show on your radio, the foremost electrifying hours of sports talk entertainment you're going to find anywhere this early in the gosh darned morning. I am Rob Brown. He is the great one, Lonzo. We collectively are thrilled to have you here as a part of the radio program.
Yep, collectively thrilled. That's
collectively
us.
Thrilled.
Yep.
Should you wish...
Not thrilled individually.
No.
Collectively.
The amount of thrilled
Yes.
is through the roof.
It intensifies if it's collective.
Should you wish to add your voice to the radio program, now is an opportunity to do so. 844-326-3663. 844-FANFONE. That number accomplishes two things for you. Thing number one is that is the number to call in and be a part of the radio show. 844-326-3663. That number also accomplishes thing number two. That, of course, is your text. That is the number to the Hub City Spartanburgers text line, 844-326-3663. Should you shoot a text to that number, it will show up right here on this very computer screen. Should you send a text to that number, and it does pop up right here on this very computer screen, I will read and respond to them live on the air. 844-326-3663. We also have for you our live stream. We stream all 4 hours of the show, all 5 days per week. And all you have to do to be a part of that, to watch, to listen, to interact, and enjoy, is go to our social media. Facebook, VFan Upstate. Give us a follow. Twitter, VFan Upstate. Give us a follow. YouTube, VFan Upstate. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also do the same for the show individually by going to The Rob Brown Show on Facebook, The Rob Brown Show on YouTube, or The Rob Brown Show on Twitch. Subscribe across all of them and never miss a moment of the hot sports action. Let's get to some stuff. What is a reasonable expectation for Tetairoa McMillan? Because I've got to tell you, I do my best not to get overexcited, not to get carried away with the belief in or optimism for a rookie. Over the course of my broadcasting career, there have been a very small number of rookies that I have said, that dude's a dude. Lamar Jackson was on that list. Derrick Henry was on that list. Reggie Bush was on that list. I didn't say they'd all be hitters. I just said a few guys made the list. And by the way, I need y'all to stop pretending like Reggie Bush was a bad player in the NFL. He wasn't. But we'll talk about that in a different segment. I have not yet, and I guess I should say because now he's in the league, so retroactively adding him to that list feels like it would be cheating. I did not put Tetairoa McMillan on that list. And I must also preface this conversation by saying I do not want to fall victim to the propaganda extravaganza that is the 2 weeks leading up to the first preseason game, when teams put out their video clips, and we all know it's only the best stuff. They're not putting out when McMillan drops a pass or...
Yeah, if you want to see all that, just go to Twitter and you'll see
fans are putting it out.
Every bad thing that was done.
With the acknowledgement, obviously, that preseason practices are only open to fans and media for limited periods of time. We don't get to see anywhere close to a chunk of practice. We get to see a little bit. But here's what I'll say. Even acknowledging that what we have seen, what we will see, what we are seeing is part of the propaganda extravaganza that is preseason leading up to preseason game numero uno. When I tell you I have seen some clips of this dude catching the football, when I tell you, and I'm sure if you're a Panther fanatic, when I tell you that you have probably seen some clips of this dude being this dude. One made its way, a supercut made its way across my eyeballs yesterday of Teteroa McMillan. The supercut of Teteroa McMillan was just circus catches that he has made so far in preseason. There were one-handers. There were over-the-head Willie Mays basket catches. And I saw one more yesterday where McMillan elevates for a 50-50 ball. Well, I don't want to say it was a 50-50 ball because the defender was in Tet's chest. I mean, face mask on jersey in his chest. Back to the football, face mask in Tet's numbers. Ball's up in the air, elevated up over the DB. This is a spot that if Rob Brown was coaching, I would be telling offensive players, wide receivers, play for the PI here. That's a tough catch to make. Play for the PI. I'm not saying don't try to catch it. I'm saying lean into the defender and try to draw the flag. Get us the spot. Anything on top of that is bonus. Get us the spot. McMillan elevates, and as he is fading away, as if he's just Jordan in the finals, knocking back a step back, as he is fading away and back, the left hand goes up, backwards behind the head, the ball hits it, he pulls it forward, because too many guys, when they have to extend backwards, they try to lean into that momentum, and they end up falling backwards with the ball. Falling backwards with the ball in one hand to the ground, physics is going to win 9 out of 10 times. When you hit the ground falling backwards, you're not Odell Beckham Jr. in his prime. Pull the ball forward, back into the chest. Give yourself a chance to secure it before you go backwards to the turf. McMillan pulls the ball forward, down to the chest. The DB is there. The ball ends up kind of in his left hand, locked up between him and the defensive back. McMillan takes the right arm, fights to push it between his chest and the defensive back, gets it through, secures the ball, which is still solo in the left hand, secures the ball into the body before falling backwards to the turf. Everything about that catch was exceptional. The body position was exceptional. The hands are exceptional. Everything about it was exceptional. When they stuck that onto the end of the Teteroa McMillan supercut that I saw, which had a ton of other circus catches, 50-50 jump balls in the corner of the end zone, diving down and away out route catches, etc. When I saw all of that combined, I wondered if I missed by not putting this cat on my that dude's gonna be a dude list with Henry, with Lamar, etc., etc. So what are the reasonable and realistic expectations for this rookie wide receiver in that wide receiver room, which is stacked? He is going to be on the opening day roster. How much is it fair? How much pressure is it fair to put on this cat? Because I'm running out of reasons to think it's not a lot. The kid's got talent. It's shining right now, but it's all been in practice. Another part of the reason I'm very excited that we are trotting out the offensive starters for 2 quarters on Friday Football's here. We're talking a lot of football on the show today, but there are plenty of other stories to get to. Luka Doncic gets fat stacks from the LA Lakers. What does that mean for the NBA? We'll talk about that coming up later in the show. We got to talk a little NASCAR, and the MLB Speedway Classic was a disaster. We'll talk about all that and more coming up on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Let's go. Kane, I'm glad you're here. Welcome in, brother. Good to have you. As it always is. All right, people, drop some commentary in the chat. Quick break. We're right back. Don't go nowhere. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown, the Great Malonzo, and you. I ordinarily save stories, events like this one for Fridays. But this story has been kind of front and center of social media. It's been front and center of some of the big news networks, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't want to save it. I want to address it very quickly. You know our beloved Portland Pickles. We have talked about them on the show before. Now, ordinarily, when we have talked about the Portland Pickles, it has been for ridiculous stories. They are one of the minor league baseball teams that has decided to lean into kind of being silly, which is great. It is, to me, it is fun. It is more fun because the reality is, while what these minor league baseball teams do is super importante to Major League Baseball, at the end of the day, if we are fans that are not hardcore baseball dudes, and I will keep it a buck, I love baseball. I don't really follow much minor league baseball, with the exception of the top prospects on my own team. I follow the Burgers. I follow the Drive. They're here. They're local. But in the very long time that I have been here, in the very long time that I have been in this market, and I hope I don't get in terrible trouble for this, it's only the hardcore baseball fans around here, like hardcore baseball fans, that are really into what the prospects on those teams are doing. And I've said before, you should go because there are future Red Sox and there are future Rangers on those two teams, guys that will be in the show one day. And it is very good baseball. But I also understand and acknowledge that we as fans of minor league teams, and I think specifically the Spartanburgers have not figured it out. It's been figured out for a while, but understood and leaned into. If you create a fun, fan-first ballpark, atmosphere, environment, you're going to do better. The Savannah Bananas and all of the little teams in what is now propped up as the Banana Ball League, they are selling out Major League Baseball stadiums. They sold out Bank of America Stadium. You know, the NFL 77,000 plus seat Bank of it. They sold it out because they just said, let's lean in on the fun. Like, let's have fun here. And the fun's great. Well, the Portland Pickles are in that group. However, the last time we talked about the Portland Pickles was when Kenny the Dill Pickle, when the mascot costume got stolen. We had a lot of fun, but that was what? That was a year and a half, 2 years ago?
Yeah, I think it was.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Well, the Pickles have gotten back into the public eye because as the minor league season is approaching its conclusion, the Pickles held Fan Appreciation Night a couple of days ago. And during Fan Appreciation Night, they kind of Savannah Bananas'd a little bit. They went and they picked a fan out of the crowd to take in at bat. Now, here's the conversation. Here's the discussion that I want to make this about. We're going to play detective a little bit because, as I told the great one when he showed up and I was introducing him to what I wanted to do with this segment this morning, there are one of two outcomes on the table for this story. The story is this. Well, you know what? I mean, it's this. I got the sound for you. The story is I was almost calling them the Bananas. The Portland Pickles at Fan Appreciation Night pulled a fan out of the crowd and said, we want you to take an at-bat for the Pickles tonight for Fan Appreciation Night. And this happened.
2-2. Low and away, ball 3. Payoff pitch. High fly ball. Left center field. Are you kidding me? 4 letters, 1 word. I'm standing here watching the replay because I still can't effing believe that happened.
They pulled a young fan, but a fan nonetheless, out of the crowd. They put him at the AB spot, and the dude goes dong, big dong, like left field gone, not even a doubt. Soon as it's off the bat, you're like, that one's in another zip code. And as the announcer said, in what is as of today, a top 5 all-time home run call. And I'm not just talking about minor league ball. I'm talking of the baseball I have listened to on the radio, which extends for 30-plus years. 4 letters, 1 word, gone. Favorite home run call. Now, here is the question mark. Work or shoot? Work or shoot? And here's why this is the thought I had. Because there's 2 possible outcomes to this story. Outcome number 1, this is real. This is a shoot. They just happened to pull a former baseball player out of the crowd. And I know he's a former baseball player because last night at about 11:30 p.m., I got a text from a cat you may know. He is a former Major League Baseball player. He goes by the name of Cody Decker. Decker is my Saturday co-host on Bet for the Cycle, which airs every Saturday from noon to 4 on the BetMGM network. Decker's a former MLB player. He's been out of the game for a couple of years, and while he's been doing radio, Decker, who was a slugger back in the day, Decker does lessons. Like he teaches young baseball players. He gives them some coaching. Decker texted me at about 11:30 last night, and he says, have you seen the Portland Pickles thing? And I said, yeah, I'm doing a segment tomorrow. And he goes, I'm about to spice it up for you. He said, the kid's name, who, and I don't know if, and this is part of the reason I want to have the work or shoot conversation. I never heard his name during the run-up. But in fairness, I've also only seen the social media clips about it. He said the kid's name is Eli. He is a former college player, low level, and I coached him. I've given him hitting instructions. I've worked with him for a couple of off seasons. Kid's got a game. Said, I've coached that kid. I taught him that swing, or at least the mechanics of it. And I said, Eli. And he said, yeah, we'll talk more about it tomorrow. I'm out. So I got to have the conversation with Cody Decker. This is why I'm having the work or shoot. And for those of you who ain't wrestling fans, that means, was this a real organic thing or was this scripted? Because, as I tell you all the time, a good chunk of what you see on social media is scripted and solely designed to get you to click it, to share it, to spread it around so that that account gets to go viral. The Portland Pickles, if this story is to be believed, went into the crowd, picked a dude, and they just happened to pick a guy who is a good enough baseball player that professional baseball players like Cody Decker saw him, took notice of him, coached him up. Or the Pickles knew he was this kid, knew he had a shot at going dong, and set him up to go take the AB. The 2 possible outcomes are this. Either A, this is totally legitimate. It was a lottery selection, and they hit the jackpot by picking a dude who's got a stroke, sending him to the dish, and he goes AB. And by the way, I've watched the clip. The pitcher was not underhanding to a fan. He was throwing at him. Or, which means it's hard to hit a home run. Or option 2, it was scripted, it's a work. If it's option 1, it is a story that can only be tagged with one of my favorite phrases of all time. How can you not be romantic about baseball? But if number two, if it's a viral stunt, if it was scripted, if it's a work, as Lonzo's about to tell you he believes it is, if it's a scripted work, it's going to be super disappointing. Because while congrats on going viral, again, Pickles, I know that that's the goal. If it's a scripted work, then one of the greatest moments I have ever seen in baseball was kayfabe.
All right, so you said one thing that I think even further makes me believe that this is not real, that it's work. You said the pitcher threw the ball hard at the batter. They're not going to do that. When you pull someone out of the crowd, they're not going to do that because they're not going to risk hurting someone who is.
Time out. Context. This was a real game for standings in the league. That was a free, if it's true, that was a free out for the other team if a minor league pitcher, a guy trying to work his way up through the ranks, that AB, for whatever reason, and I don't know if this is like a league policy, the Pickles had to get a waiver, like I don't know how that works. But if it's real, that pitcher had a free K right there in front of him. He was going like 89, 90, minor league fastball, and it was not down the pipe. Like he was working this cat.
I'm not buying it because of the pitch. Because of the pitch. I don't think you do that to someone you just randomly bring out of the crowd. I think you only do that to someone you know is a baseball player and can handle it. Because if that's some nervous dude that you got out of the third row and he stumbles into the pitch, that's a major lawsuit.
I am going, and that is the question. I'm going to work on an assumption that I feel comfortable working off of, only because I've been in the sports game for a long time. You guys, for those of you that don't know, I work PA in-host arena or in-game arena host for the Swamp Rabbits. Anytime that we are going to bring anybody out on the ice to play a game, and not like a hockey game, like, go out there and run an obstacle course or, giant beer pong or whatever we're doing. Anytime we're going to do that, before they go on the ice, they do have to sign a big fat waiver that says, hey, if you slip and crack your skull open, you can't sue the team. So I'm working on the assumption that this team had, if it's real, had a fan sign a waiver that says, look, if you take a 90-mile-an-hour baseball to the back, you can't sue us for it. That's part of the acceptance of possible outcomes for doing this. But I will also acknowledge the Pickles are a collegiate summer baseball team. We've talked about this. The old Spartanburgers were that, right? They're a summer baseball team. Effectively, they are made up of college kids that join a summer league just to play ball outside of the college baseball season to keep everything fresh. These are not like true minor league baseball players working their way up to get on a team. These are college players who are keeping themselves sharp for when college baseball starts up here in a handful of months. At the same time, these summer leagues, they are looked at by scouts. People are paying attention. These are guys that are 1, maybe 2 seasons away from being in the MLB draft trying to get on a minor league team. I don't know. I don't know if this was, is it possible that the Pickles called their opponents and said, hey, look, we're going to do this thing. Don't treat him like a guest. Treat him like a player. He's an AB. We get it. Did they call the other team and go, hey, we're going to do this thing. If you guys don't mind, we'll give you a free out in the same inning if you'll just, throw some gas to him. We'll give you a free run later to make up for. I don't know what the case is. That's why I'm super energized by this story. Because if it is, they pulled a random fan and he just happened to be a real baseball player and he went dong. That's one of the greatest baseball stories of all time. If it's not, and it's a work, it's still a really cool story, but just like it doesn't have that same romanticism about it. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. We got your water cooler cheat sheet, top 3 sports stories. We got some Panther talk, some college football talk. It's football week. Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Fame caliber sports flash now.
Wow, does that mean I'm retiring soon? Hope not. Unless you want to give me enough money to retire. MLB's first ever Speedway Classic played on the infield at Bristol Motor Speedway was rain delayed from Saturday into Sunday, but ultimately won by the Atlanta Braves 4-2 over the Reds. Rookie Hudson Walder was credited with the win. The Braves recorded 10 hits over the 2-day affair, including a pair of home runs from Greenville native and Wren High School graduate Eli White. William Byron took home the checkered flag at the Indy Corn 350, also known as the 350 yesterday, fighting off fuel concerns down the stretch en route to his second victory of the season. Byron ran out of gas at both Michigan and Indianapolis this year. After showing up to camp in a walking boot with a calf strain, Florida quarterback DJ Lagway returned to active practice over the weekend. Lagway will take limited snaps, and the Gators offered no timetable for a full return for the Heisman Trophy contender. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show coming up next.
That Reed deserves a Heisman. Oh, did we nail that one? Lonzo's his own worst critic, guys.
There were stumbles. We finished strong. Scored a touchdown. That's all that matters. Bobbled the ball twice, It is raining. Forgot to wear my gloves.
Not a stickum guy, though.
I used that stuff when I pole vaulted. If you sprayed too much, you couldn't let go of the pole. So it was, you had to find that right mix.
My Google Pixel just added a bunch of new AI features over the weekend. I'm pretty excited to see what they are later today. Do 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 do. I have the Timmy Trumpet song stuck in my head for no reason. Actually, I do have a reason.
I don't know who Timmy is and why he has a trumpet. Yeah, I've been doing that all morning.
I don't know what to tell you. It's
I'm just glad it's not country. So I mean, if it was country, it would be annoying, but it's not. So we're good. I still don't know who Timmy is
though. Timmy Trumpets is his actual name. Well, obviously his artist's actual name. But that song I'm singing, he does that.
Timmy Trumpet is an Australian musician and DJ. Okay, this is something new?
No, his song, that song I've been singing, humming, whatever I've been doing, has gotten very popular in the sports world. A lot of pitchers, closing pitchers are using it as a walk-up music, predominantly Edwin Diaz of the New York Mets. He showed up at a Mets game last year, and he played it live on the field when that dude was coming in to close the game, and it was electric. And off we go. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back. Great to have you. Happy Monday. More importantly than a happy Monday, allow me to wish you the happiest of football weeks. There are exactly and precisely 0 weekends remaining in the 2025 calendar year that do not include some type of football game. We have 3 weeks of preseason football lined up ahead of us. And then we get to Saturday, August 23rd. And from that Saturday, every remaining Saturday and Thursday and Saturday and a handful of Fridays and Sundays and Tuesdays, because Maction is almost back, boys. Every one of them days has got at least a college football game in it. Yes, please. Yes, please. We've got a handful of games. We have 3 days, effectively. 3.5 days. We got to get to the nighttime. 3.5 days remaining until Indy and Baltimore, Cincinnati and Philly, and Las Vegas and Seattle get us started on Thursday night. Detroit and Atlanta, Cleveland and Carolina, Washington and New England fire up on Friday. New York, the G-Men, and the Buffalo Bills, Houston, Minnesota, Dallas, LA Rams, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, Tennessee, Tampa, New York Jets, and Green Bay Packers, Kansas City, Arizona, Denver, San Francisco on Saturday, Miami, Chicago, and then New Orleans, Los Angeles on Sunday. It's here. 0 more Saturdays, 0 more Sundays where there's not some sort of football ahead of us. Ladies and gentlemen, feels good, bro. I know it's because of the weather. I know it's because of the overcast. I know it's because of the incoming rain, which Lonzo alerts me we have a 100% chance of every day for the next 3 months. I got it. But this morning, the alarm went off. I got up. I got showered. I got dressed. There was a little extra pep in the step. And right before it was time to leave, I had to take the old pupper outside. She's a youngster. She's 7 months. You got to take her out in the AM as soon as you get up and get going. And I opened the back door. Y'all, it is August 4th. Somehow it's August already. We'll talk about that later. It is August 4th. I opened the door to let the dog outside. And a rush of 60-whatever-ish degree breeze just gently washed across my face. And I went, it feels like football. It's very football-y outside. And I know it's a mirage. I know it is only for a little while. I know we are in false fall. I know it is obviously not fall. It is still August. Hell, one of the fun conversations about SEC football is how miserable it is to play in Gainesville or Athens or Austin in August in the early portion of the season because it's 10,000 degrees in the brutal baking sun. But for just a hot minute, knowing it's false fall, knowing this is all fraudulent weather, knowing that in 2 to 3 weeks, we're all going to be going, I think I'm going to die, while we're standing outside watching our football teams play. For just a moment this morning, when I went to take the pepperoni outside and I opened the door and felt that gust of late fall breeze, I thought to myself, it's football season. And even Mother Nature herself is celebrating. Feels good, man. Feels good. All right. It is 7:05 in the morning. You know what that means. It is time for us to tell you what you're going to probably, more than likely, be talking about when you get to the office this morning? Because I know the drill. You go in, you log in, you clear up all the stuff your boss wanted you to do over the weekend. But hey, your weekends are your time. So you said, bleep that noise, boss man. I'm enjoying my final Saturday and Sunday without football on TV by preparing myself for next weekend when there's football on TV. But you got to make up for it today. So like 7 to 12 minutes of actual hard work. And then you're going to take that break. You're going to walk down the hallway to that break room. You're going to go stand next to the water cooler. You're going to wait for Bill from graphics to show up. And you're going to talk sports. And since that's going to happen, you need to know what's going on. And since you need to know what's going on, worry not, dear friend, because right now is when Lonzo and I do this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
I'm not going to play with it anymore.
Yeah, stop it.
before they take their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
'Tis indeed the water cooler cheat sheet. The top 3 sports stories that you will be talking about when you get to the office this AM. When you do, these are most of the things you're going to be talking about. Let's dive right in with item number 1. I heard a lot of words used to describe the first ever Major League Baseball Speedway Classic over the weekend. It was meant to be on Saturday, but unfortunately, the same Mother Nature that is celebrating it being football season this AM, well, she had other plans for the Braves and the Reds on Saturday night. The game was rain delayed by nearly 2 hours, just shy of 2 hours. They got the game underway, but they could not finish it. Played about an inning Saturday night before baseball said, yep, nope, this ain't gonna work. So they suspended the Speedway Classic to be resumed yesterday. The Braves would ultimately win the Speedway Classic. 4-2 is your final. Hudson Waldrop, the rook, called up from minor leaguers, from the minor leagues. The minor leaguer called up from the minor leagues to eat up some innings, went 5.2, gave up 3 hits, just 1 earned run, and K'd 4 in a 75-pitch performance. Of course, Austin Cox went to the Saturday night after Spencer Strider was scrubbed. Initially, a lot of people were real upset about that decision because after the rain delay, but before we knew that the game was going to be ultimately rain delayed until Sunday, Strider got yanked from the game. He was supposed to start because this was supposed to be a crown jewel game for Major League Baseball. But Strider got scrubbed. And a lot of Braves fans are like, yo, why? He's the only guy we got. Well, it turns out, I assume, that it was pretty obvious, at least it was to me, that that game was not getting finished on Saturday. So there was no need to send him out there to ultimately pitch 1 inning, screw up your whole rotation, give Strider a couple of extra days of rest, send out a young guy, a bullpen guy. They did. He pitched 1 out before we ended up moving on to Sunday. Waldrop would have himself a very good day yesterday. 4 other pitchers, Johnson, Lee, Kinley, and Iglesias, would all come in to close it out. Over the course of the 2 days, the Braves offense racked up 10 hits. There were no more important 2 hits than the not 1, but 2 dongs collected by Greenville native, Wren High School graduate, and Clemson Tiger, Eli White, who went yard in the 2nd inning and again in the 7th inning, the first 2 dongs of his Major League Tennessee showing. Of course, the only 2 home runs ever hit in the state of Tennessee now belong to Eli White. The Braves get it done 4-2. That's not even really the crux of the conversation. The crux of the conversation is this. You guys know I like a gimmick in sports. I like when teams do something different, unique, original, attention-grabbing. I liked the Field of Dreams games, and I liked this concept yesterday because I don't know that there are two fan bases that overlap quite as much as NASCAR fans and Braves fans. They are the team of the South. NASCAR is the sport of the South. I liked this. The problem was baseball had this great idea, and they did all the work to make it look real good for what turned into a total disaster. No, they can't do much about the weather. That just kind of is what it is. Anytime you host an outdoor event, you run the risk that weather can interfere. I got married outside. We got asked, hey, Rob, what happens if it rains on September 21st, 2024? And the wife and I's answer was, we have no idea. We have no contingency plan. If it rains, we might just say, bring the umbrella. We're getting hitched in the storm. We have no contingency plan. There's not a contingency plan for this. If it rains throughout the weekend, we're screwed. We're not going to do it. I get it. What I will say is this. The presentation of the game was fine. The execution of the game makes me go from a guy who was interested in going over for this game. Unfortunately, some circumstances prevented me from doing so. Circumstances outside of my control. To a guy that is real glad he didn't go to the game. And, to be honest, if they run this thing back again next year, especially if they get to the point where they start trying to do this in other raceways to continue to build the relationship between NASCAR and baseball, which I think would be great, I don't think I'm interested in going other ones. I just don't. They were selling tickets to this game that were out past the right field wall. There were people posting pictures from their seats at this game who were seated in extreme left or right field who had a big-ass wall. They couldn't see the field. And when I say see the field, I don't mean see the plate. I mean see the field. They could see about 15 yards between the outfield and the outfield wall. They ran out of food. There were people posting pictures that they went to the concession stand to buy nachos, and they got handed literally just a paper container with chips on it. No cheese, no chili, no meat, no nothing. Just the chips. They ran out of beer. I'll tell you right now, greatest sin you can pull off in a baseball game is run out of beer. Hey, don't do that. I'll never come back. So, love a gimmick. Problem is, if you don't execute it, all the goodwill that you tried to build up by doing that gimmick, out the door. Wasted. No point.
How long did the game on Saturday last?
A standard baseball game. The game didn't take forever.
But they had it completed on Sunday. How long did it last on Saturday?
The rain delay was, the first one was just shy of 2 hours, like an hour and 40 minutes.
I'm not trying to defend them. So they have it set up for one day. So the people who came Saturday and ate stuff also came Sunday and ate stuff. So the supply that they had for one day ended up having to be stretched to 2 days. So to me, it makes sense why they ran out.
That is a very good and, dare I say, likely explanation of what happened. But you got to know when you get to the end of the Saturday, you got to look and say, we don't have enough food and beer for tomorrow. Get more. Figure it out. You're Major League Baseball. You are a multi-billion-dollar organization. You have got a sponsored official food for stadiums team in every state of the union. Granted, there's no team in Tennessee, but you figure it the hell out. Because if I went there and I went on Saturday and it got rained out and I had to, not just had to, but was willing to come back on Sunday and you run out of food, brewskis, this sucks. This isn't fun anymore. All right, we'll talk more about that later on the show. Let me get to item number 2. I know that it's a little bit of an old story, but I do think it is the biggest story of the weekend if you are a fan of sports nationally. Los Angeles Lakers superstar Luka Doncic was handed a 3-year, $165 million max extension by the LA Lakers. Now, we'll talk more about this in the contract and how it applies to the Lakers and what the future means for Luka Doncic and all that later on. This story is interesting to me because I think it sets up what is going to be the dramatic storyline for the LA Lakers coming into the 2025-26 year. And that storyline is, for the first time in his going on 21-season-long career, Lonzo, am I over-exaggerating? Am I being dramatic here? The answer is no, but I'll let you tell me if I'm wrong. For the first time in his 21-year career, LeBron James is on somebody else's team. Every year since he was drafted till last year, it was LeBron's team and other guys were on it. For the first time in his career, LeBron's on somebody else's team.
All right, so on paper, that's true. On paper, that's true. On the court, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see when basketball gets back, because I don't think he's going to give up that title on the court, and I don't think Luka will press it either.
That is probably my initial thought as well. Here's my other thing. We done seen Luka the last couple of weeks. I saw some video of him out and about over the weekend. That Men's Health magazine cover that captured the nation's attention last week, it ain't no joke. Dude looks good.
Does this prove he was lazy? Or is this just revenge?
Oh, I think it's a revenge tour.
Yeah.
As I have called it, it is the Luka Doncic 2025 Dallas tour.
Yeah, but if you're Dallas, you'll go, see? If he applied himself while he was here like that, he'd still be here.
I mean, I get it. Here's the thing I'll say. That Luka Doncic 2025 Dallas revenge tour only works if he, I bleeped it, only works.
No, you kind of.
No, I said the 2025 Luka Doncic Dallas tour.
No, you said the first letter and a little bit too much.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm sorry.
That revenge tour only works if he goes out there and is a dude this year. And the question mark is LeBron the guy that goes, I understand it, he's our dude now, I'm going to play the off-ball role? Or is LeBron the dude that takes it personally and goes, no, it's still my team. I'm still getting paid more than you because I've been here longer, and change the chemistry. And if he does that, does that implode the Lakers no matter what? We'll find out. We'll talk about it. Let's get to item number 3. Look, this one's not anything's happening. This is not anything that is like a big breaking news story. But I absolutely do think it is one of the things you'll be talking about today. So that's why it's item number 3. Ladies and gentlemen, football week's here. I've already run over it. I'm not going to do it again. Here's what you need to know. We got 3 NFL preseason games on Thursday. We've got 3 NFL preseason games on Friday. We've got 8 NFL preseason games on Saturday. And we got a pair more on Sunday. You got to do that for 3 weeks up until August 23rd. August 23rd, we have got 5 college football games. Thursday, the 28th, we got a lot more than 3 college football games. Friday, the 29th, we got a lot more than 3 college football games. And Saturday, August 30th, it's on. Batting noon that day, Texas and Ohio State, a potential NCAA Football National Championship preview kicks us off at noon. We have football games into the evening as late that Saturday as 11 p.m. when Utah and UCLA play in Pasadena, Colorado State and Washington play in Seattle. And if that's not enough, we got a pair of big games on Sunday the 31st. Virginia Tech and South Carolina, 3 p.m. over at Megatron's Butthole in Atlanta, Georgia. Notre Dame at Miami, 7:30 p.m. that night down in Coral Gables, Florida. And if that's not enough, TCU and North Carolina play on Monday night, the 1st of September. You have to wait just 3.5 more days because when Thursday night rolls around and the NFL preseason begins week 1 in earnest, there are 0 more Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, or Sundays without football involved. It's time, people. It's also time to go to break. I'm Rob Brown. He's the great one, Lonzo. When we come back, let's talk a little college football. I don't think it's too early to start looking at week 1. So, let's start making some guesses. We got lines, we got overs, we got unders, we got numbers, we got thoughts, we got evaluations. So let's give some predictions. Clemson, LSU, South Carolina, Virginia Tech. What are the storylines? What are the hitch points for those 2 big games that kick us off in like 3 weeks and some days? That's coming up. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Those are some dry-ass looking chicken tenders to put in. Well, that's nothing I wouldn't say on air.
No, I know, but killing me.
My point stands. Those were some dry-ass looking chicken tenders DQ put on their commercial.
They're not. I mean, they're not.
They look dry to me.
They are because of the batter. So you've never had them before?
I've never had DQ chicken fingers. That is correct.
Yeah, I mean, it just tastes like any other deep fried crunchy. If that's what you like.
Yes, actually, Steven, in what movie was it? It was I believe the first movie of the prequels when they show the Senate for the first time, the Imperial Senate with the kind of overall drone shot of the whole Senate. If you look real closely, you can actually see two of ET species as members of the Galactic Senate. It's a nice little Easter egg. BRB, dudes. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. I blew it. I yelled loudly before the mics were off. I just want to point out that if you're going to do a fast food commercial, don't make your chicken tenders look dry in the commercial, okay? Do you understand how difficult it is for me to be turned off by chicken tendies? I'm a big fan. I think we're all big fans. Chicken tenders got, like, if we put together a list of the nation's favorite foods, I have to imagine, like, chicken tenders have got to have one of the highest approval ratings of food by Americans. Think about it. When someone says, well, you know, I'm a picky eater, or my kid's a picky eater, there's like two foods that are always thrown into the mix of foods that picky eaters will say yes to. It's always pizza and chicken tenders. Super high approval rate for chicken tenders. And yet, a particular fast food company, I shan't name them, during the break, I looked up at the TV just to see what was going on, if I'm missing any breaking news in the sports world, and I see an ad from a particular fast food joint And man, if they ain't had the driest looking chicken tenders I've ever seen in my life, and that's what you put on the commercial. Like, we all accept that when we come to your fast food joint, the food we saw in the commercial is not going to look anything like the food you put on the tray that we take back to the table or pull out of the bag in the car. I get it. I get it when you put that burger on TV and it's big and it's fat and it's juicy and it looks delightful. That's not the burger that I'm unwrapping that makes me feel depressed and hate myself on the way to work in the afternoon. I get it. I understand that. But that's the best you decided to go with, you particular fast food joint. You decided to put those tendies on TV. Ones that at 7:30 in the morning, I haven't eaten yet. 7:30 in the morning, I look. This should be prime. Make me go, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to get for lunch today. I think I might hit that restaurant on the way home. And instead, I looked at those and I went, yeah, I don't think I want tendies today. I don't think that's the play for me.
I don't think it was that bad. I think you are hungry. That may be clouding your view of those particular chicken tenders. There's
a lot of foods that I would look at and go, nah, even hungry, nah, not me. Again, chicken tenders have got to have one of, like, I would say if we had to pick the top 5 foods power ranked by America, not us, by Americans everywhere, I got to imagine chicken tenders is in that top 5, and I don't think they're number 5. They're probably up closer to the top of that list. I don't think I've ever looked at. Look, here's a fast food joint right now for fried chicken. I just looked at it. I'm like, that was pretty good. And you know, that's like my third favorite fried chicken joint. That's a good-looking tendy. That's good-looking fried chicken.
They are showing tenders there.
Yeah.
I agree. Those
first ones did not make me go, I think I'm going to hit them on the way home. How many times have we been doing this show and a commercial comes on and we talk about it during the break and I'm like, yeah, I think that's what I'm getting on the way home today.
That's true. But I will say that particular place that you're unhappy with is known for something else.
Fair enough. It's not their forte.
And most people don't go there for food.
Not their forte. I get it. They're known for one thing. Again, not going to tell you because if I do, you'll know exactly who the hell it is.
And the one thing that they're known for, they're really good at.
For sure.
Yeah.
They're a regular stop for me on road trips out of town. I'll hit one on the way out. Be like, let me get one of those things your specialty known for. I almost did it right there. All right, we'll get away from that. The point here is, if you're gonna put your food on TV, like put good food on TV. That's rough, man. That's rough. Hey, let's talk a little college football, shall we? Because you may or may not be keeping track of this, but we have 3 weeks and 3.5 days until Thursday, the 28th, when we get everything going. Is that the right day? I think it is. I think that's the right day, right? 23rd. Yeah, 23rd. Yeah. All right, cool. Great. Awesome. So let's talk about the games for South Carolina and Clemson that will be batting lead off on that opening weekend of college football. And we'll go in chronological order. So we'll start with that first game, Clemson taking on LSU. The Tigers of Death Valley will host the Tigers of Death Valley in Death Valley. Of course, this one, the north one, the one here, on August 30th. Start with this when we talk about LSU. I don't know what to make of what this team is this year. And there's two groups of people who have taken a stance on what LSU is. There's group number one. This is the group that genuinely believes that Garrett Nussmeier is the best quarterback in the Southeastern Conference. He's got the experience. He's got the numbers. Pressure's on. I spoke to a cat by the name of Matt Moscona. He broadcast down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Now, in fairness, Matt Moscona and the folks that broadcast down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, they are demonstrably, empirically, unquestionably pro-LSU guys. They make no bones about it. But I talked to Matt at SEC Media Days away from microphones for about 15 minutes. In fact, we are going to have Matt on the show a little bit closer to the end of the month, he's going to come on as one of the things I am going to try to accomplish this year is to make a weekly segment that we go behind enemy lines. I will welcome in broadcasters, radio hosts, television dudes from the opponents of Clemson, South Carolina, and the Carolina Panthers throughout the course of the week. He is going to come on for week 1 when LSU and Clemson play at each other to talk a little football. I was talking to him, and I will, again, acknowledge that he's a pro LSU broadcaster. I talked to him away from the team. And I said, hey, man, like, just you. Not radio you, but just you. What do you think about Nussmeier? And he said, I'm saying this to you not as an LSU guy or LSU broadcaster. I'm saying this to you as somebody who has been watching this kid. He's going to be great. Not good. He's going to be great. He said, I've got LSU winning the conference. And that is not just because of the fact that I think it is Brian Kelly's most talented team and not by a little bit. He said, I'm telling you it's going to be because of Garrett Nussmeier. This dude is a dude. I'm not fully bought in on that yet. I have question marks. We talk about the fact that last year, LSU, despite losing to USC in the opener, they turned around and they reeled off 6 straight wins. That included, of course, the win on the road at South Carolina. That, controversial. They won 6 straight. They got inside the top 25. Then they lost to A&M, Alabama, and Florida back to back to back. They got blown out by Alabama. They lost by 11 on the road at Florida. Granted, that was about the time that DJ Lagway started to break out a little bit. Granted, that was about the time until Alabama got beast-slapped and scored 0 touchdowns against Oklahoma, which effectively removed them from playoff consideration. That was about the time that Alabama was kind of finding a roll. In those 3 losses, however, Garrett Nussmeier played like crap. Like, he played very poorly. In losses to A&M and Alabama and Florida, completed less than 57% of his passes, 5 interceptions across those 3 games. LSU managed just 17 points on average. Outside of those 3 games, the other 9 games they played, they averaged 38 points per game. That is why I have questions about Garrett Nussmeier. Granted, a year older, another offseason of XP, and the accumulated XP from those games last year, those losses last year. But he also accumulated XP in that loss at A&M. And then he played worse against Alabama. And then he played worse against Florida. So I don't know that I'm comfortable saying, hey, look, he's going to pull it together. He took some L's. He took some shots to the chin. And now he's just going to bounce back and be better. Because he did not do that last year. There was also the additional narrative about the pressure that is on Brian Kelly. I don't know what Brian Kelly has to accomplish to not either A, get dismissed by LSU next offseason, or B, avoid being on the hot seat at LSU next season. What I do know is the folks that I have spoken to across the college football landscape seem to believe the answer is 9-3. Anything less than 9-3, he's gone. 9-3. 9-3 might get him on the hot seat. Anything worse than that, probably gone. Anything better, 10-2, that's probably good enough to get you into the playoffs. That's what they believe. So what does that matchup look like? What are the strengths of LSU and how they match up with the Clemson Tigers in week 1? When we come back, I will give you some thoughts on that game. Then we will transition to South Carolina's opener against Virginia Tech. That's all coming up on the Rob Brown Show. That's all coming up on the Fan Upstate.
What in the world?
More Bork laser.
No, that's 18 seconds long. What?
What is
This.
Like they just stopped recording it? BRB dudes. The Rob Brown Show on your radio. It is the Fan Up State. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Good to have you. I am Rob. He is the great one, Lonzo. Be a part of the radio show this AM. 844-326-3663 is the number. You can call that number and get on the air. You can text that number and we will read it on the air. You can also get at me on social media at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show, if you wish to do so. Or you can email me, rob.brown@thefanupstate.com. I knew there was one more. We got there. So, we have talked a little bit about Clemson's week one opponent, the LSU Tigers, as the Tigers of Death Valley come visit the Tigers of Death Valley in a week one matchup. What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses that Clemson will have to match up with and try to take advantage of as they square the cow and meow offense up, as Lonzo and only Alonzo has so affectionately named it this year? Heading into the season, here is what I think we will have to keep an eye on.
Send all your hate, not physicality, this way. I'm good with that. Don't need any physicality.
Yeah, I'm out. That's all Zo. Send all hate mail courtesy of Lonzo at the Fan Upstate. I will start.
Send it with actual mail and do the thing where you cut the letters out of the paper.
Oh, you want like hate ransom notes?
Oh yeah, those
I
are
respect
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
I do. Let's start with this one. I think the first thing you're going to have to contend with is what is this Clemson run game going to be capable of against what I believe is LSU's strength, and that is the linebacking core. LSU is going to this year run a very interesting defense under Blake Baker. LSU plays not really a 3-4, not really a 4-3. They kind of hybrid it. They also don't really have a nickel package. They have a position they call the star position. The star position is kind of a linebacker safety hybrid. It is a guy that is going to play slightly deeper than your linebackers, but slightly closer than a safety. And he has the capability of stepping into either situation. What that does is create an issue for quarterbacks. And this is why I have said for a number of quarterbacks, Garrett Nussmeier is without a doubt one of them. Lenora Sellers is one of them. Garrett Nussmeier is one of them. For a number of quarterbacks this year, their mettle is going to be tested in week 1. Cade Klubnik is one of those guys because Cade Klubnik is going to see a defensive formation and a defensive tactic in week 1 that he will likely not see any other game on the season because of the way that LSU has a hybrid position player on the field genuinely most every snap. Whereas most teams are going to go with either a 4-3 or a 3-4 and 4 defensive backs. LSU is going to run effectively a 3-3 nickel set, except for they will ordinarily have 4 DBs back. They will have one dude that's kind of in the middle of the field that can drop off into playing the DB role, can step up into playing a linebacker role. And in a lot of situations, I would say, that's great. I can take advantage of that. If the guy's undersized, if the guy they put in that spot is undersized, cool. I'm running right at him. I'm going to block everybody else, and I'm just going to one-on-one solo that guy with my biggest, baddest dude out of the backfield. And if he's oversized, if he's a linebacker, I'm going to mix and match wide receivers and running backs out of the backfield. And whatever my fastest dude is that gets covered up by that guy, I'm going to attack that route every time. The problem that you're going to bump into is that the guy that is going to be playing the star role this year for LSU is a cat by the name of Harold Perkins. He is a 6'1", 220-pound junior that is the prototype of a dude that is going to play a defensive back linebacker hybrid. He's going to be a problem for you this year. That is the number one matchup, in my opinion, that will dictate and determine how this game goes for Clemson. It is, can Garrett Riley figure out what the weakest part of Harold Perkins' game is? And problematic for Clemson, there's not a lot of tape on this guy last year. He missed most of last season with a knee injury. He was a fantastic player in 2022, but he played primarily as an edge rusher, either a hand-in-the-sand defensive end or a stand-up outside linebacker. This is going to be the first run at it where he is going to be playing kind of that stand-up around the formation role. That seems interesting. The other problem you're going to bump into with the LSU defense in week 1 is that this team has a very interesting similarity with 2023 Florida State or 2024 Florida State. We don't know yet. That is to say, they are very, very portal heavy this year. One of the guys that will be on this defense as a portal guy is a cat by the name of Patrick Payton. He is going to be playing predominantly at the defensive end spot, though he also can sometimes stand up, drop off into an outside linebacker position. Patrick Payton is a transfer from Florida State. Patrick Payton came to Florida State with the expectation that he would be a Florida State all-time great. He was part of a defense last year that was embarrassing. And Patrick Payton is an interesting character in that he has all of the physical tools. As a 6'5", 255-pound cat with wheels, he has all of the physical tools to be one of the best defensive players in college football. Yet, last year, he was kind of pretty good. Did the mentality shift happen? Did the kick in the pants that he and the rest of the boys in Garnet and Gold got last year in Tallahassee, Florida, did that evolve him to the next level? Or does he bring the same mentality that infested Florida State last year? That is to say, a mentality of, we here to get paid. And that is not my opinion. That is the opinion of a number of folks that I know that I worked very closely with down in Tallahassee when I broadcasted there. That is the opinion of a number of folks down there around the Tallahassee area. That Florida State's defense primarily, but the team at large was kind of infected by this mentality of, we're here to get paid. That ultimately took over and created a world where they just could not succeed. Does he get rid of that? Because if he does, Patrick Payton is going to be a problem for the Clemson Tigers. If he did adapt, if he did evolve, if he did get better, then I would make the argument that that you're in trouble. If he did not, that's a weak spot on that defense that can be attacked. The matchup for me that will matter the most when Clemson and LSU play is, number one, Harold Perkins at the star position, playing a hybrid role that is unique to LSU. Well, not to LSU, but of the Power 4 teams. Largely unique to LSU and occupied by a dude. And then whether or not Patrick Payton is going to be a dude as an edge rusher. I don't know the answer to that. Very quickly, let's address for the next handful of minutes the Week 1 contest of the South Carolina Gamecocks. A little bit easier of an ask taking on the Hokies of Virginia Tech. This is a team last year that lost their opener against Vanderbilt. That was on the road, and it was in overtime. This is a team last year that lost to Rutgers. This was a team that lost to Syracuse. This is a team last year that lost to Duke. It is also a team that knocked off a Georgia Tech team that I was in love with and kept them out of the end zone the entire game. This is also a team that kept it close with Clemson until the fourth quarter when they did not. It's not a bad football team. And, as I have said a few times, I think Brent Pry is probably the most hot seat coach in the ACC coming into the 2025 season. So, what are we looking at here? Number one, new offensive coordinator, Philip Montgomery. Here's what we know about Philip Montgomery. He has been the offensive coordinator at Houston, Baylor, and Auburn. And at all three spots, Philip Montgomery runs a wide open offense. Wide open. He wants to put 40 on the board. The second thing that we know of, Kyron Drones is going to be the starting quarterback. Drones, who had a string of lower body injuries last season, is back under center this year. This is a cat who has a ton of athleticism. This is a cat who can get all over the field. He can run, he can scramble, he can throw well, and he's got a better than average arm when he is on the run. Here's the problem that Virginia Tech brings into this game. They only have one other starter coming back from last year, and he plays tight end. That's it. They have a brand new running back. They have 3 brand new receivers that are getting starts, and they return 0 offensive linemen. Now, I'm going to address the couple of problems that you will have if you were South Carolina, predominantly on defense, where they bring back their entire linebacking core. And their linebacking core gets around the field quite a bit. This is where the legs of Lenora Sellers are going to come into play. I've already mentioned a number of times, I believe this Gamecock team is good. But the reality of this Gamecock team is, and I don't think there's any issue with this, it's college football, this is not unusual. This team is going as far as Lenora Sellers can carry them. That's not an insult. That's a compliment to Lenore Sellers. That's how good he is. This team will go as far as Lenore Sellers is capable of carrying them, literally and metaphorically. If Lenore Sellers is able to get by, around, through, whatever, Virginia Tech's linebacking core, they have 0 returning defensive backs. They have 1 returning defensive lineman, and it is their defensive tackle, Kelvin Gilliam Jr., who is 6'3", 295. Big boy, but he's not Georgia defensive lineman coming back. He's not there yet. So, you have the advantage on offense, assuming that your offensive line is able to block the inside pressure. You should have an edge there. The defense against Virginia Tech's offense, it is going to be, can you keep drones inside the pocket? We also know what the strength of South Carolina's defense is going to be this year. And I do not think that it is any sort of insult or disrespect to point out that South Carolina is expected to be their best off the defensive edge. That's going to be the bread and butter for the Gamecocks this year. And if that is the bread and butter for the defense around Dylan Stewart, around Brian Thomas Jr., if that's the bread and butter for the defense, the edge rush, the defensive line, and you can keep drones inside the pocket, honestly, South Carolina should win this football game, and to me, should win it relatively comfortable. But you haven't seen what their offense is going to look like. Drones can play anywhere on the field as a quarterback. He can get outside. He can throw on the run. He can also take it himself. And now he's working under an offensive coordinator that wants to do that. That is the primary strength of this team. They do not have experienced wide receivers. What I do know so far is, from what I have heard, from the reports, from the advanced scouting of this team, etc., while they do not have experienced wide receivers, they got a bunch of dudes that are fast. They got a bunch of dudes who are quick on the outside, which means that when I've got a quarterback who is capable of going left, going right, and completing on the run, and I've got wide receivers who are quick in and quick out of routes, which is what I'm being told about Virginia Tech's wide receivers. The kryptonite to that is to get to the quarterback, is to keep him in the pocket, is to keep him from getting on the run, and if he is going to run, to force him to run up the middle where the tunnel vision kicks in. You do that, you should be able to win the game. Those are, and we've got plenty more to say about these two games as we inch ever closer to them. But those are, to me, the biggest standout, most important matchups in the 2 week 1 games. Spike text the show, said, Rob, I don't have time to send Lonzo hate mail. Can I just send him a gif of Woody Hayes punching Charlie Ballman?
Okay, why is that? Is that what's that do? Is that pro me or anti me? Because I mean, if Woody would have known that he was going to get fired, he'd have punched him harder. I mean, it really comes down to that. I mean,
okay, all right,
you know quick. You're going down for it. You might as well, do the thing. You know what I'm saying?
To all future potential football coaches out there at any level, if you punch an opposing player, you're going to get fired. And I'm pretty sure that was true in 1970 as well.
Well, I don't know if that's exactly the year when that happened.
I don't
either. It hasn't happened since, as far as we know. But again, if you're going to go down, they say go down swinging, but swing a little bit harder. That's all I'm saying. I still don't understand. Was that what did that? Oh, he got fired. Okay, they've done pretty good since. It's not like the program went downhill and has never won anything since then.
They didn't get SMU'd for it.
And I will just point out the last time that Clemson and Ohio State played, y'all got y'all butt whooped. So anyway,
you could say you got Woody hazed. 844-326-3663 when we come back. Some of the other big sports stories from the weekend. Had a very interesting NASCAR race yesterday. We will get to that. Luka Doncic got fat stacks, bro. We'll talk about that. And a whole lot of baseball all coming up after Lonzo, the Woody Hayes of sports flashes, punches you in the face for the next 60 seconds.
Or somewhere else where it might hurt more. William Byron took home the checkered flag at the Indy Corn 300. It's the thing, Indy Corn 350, also known as 350. Yesterday, fighting off fuel concerns down the stretch en route to his second victory of the season. Byron ran out of gas at both Michigan and Indianapolis this year. Yeah, that's not a good thing. MLB's first ever Speedway Classic played on the infield at Bristol Motor Speedway was rain delayed from Saturday into Sunday, but ultimately won by the Atlanta Braves 4-2 over the Reds. Rookie Hudson Waldrop was credited with the win. Braves recorded 10 hits over the 2-day affair, including a pair of home runs from Greenville native and Wren High School graduate Eli White. Cameron Young scored his first PGA Tour victory yesterday, claiming the Wyndham Championship by 2 strokes with a 2-under 68 in the final round and wrapping with a 22-under 258. That didn't look right. But anyway. Still don't know if the Woody Hayes thing was a jab or not. Well, no, that the actual punch, I don't remember if it was a jab. I think it might have been a jab, but I mean, what was that? As that was supposed to hurt me? I don't. Good morning, James. It was 1978 when Woody Hayes punched the player.
The podcast of these dumb comedians, and this guy says, my grandma died, and they're all like giving him sympathies. And he's like, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm taking solace in the fact that she's up in heaven with Macho Man. They're like, that's your comfort? Like, that's your comfort? And he's like, yeah. I thought that's what I would say. I love it.
QC in the first break.
10-4.
What the hey, dude?
What the hey, dude? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It's the fan upstate Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, and you. Should you wish to be a part of the radio broadcast, today is a wonderful day to make that happen. I am Rob Brown. The great one, Lonzo, is on the other side of the metaphorical glass this AM, on the opposite side, literally, of the board.
Yeah, that was a double intro. I don't know if you know it. You introed twice, but you did. You all right? You good?
Yes, I'm wonderful. I do not know.
In case you guys didn't know, that's Rob Brown.
That's me.
I'm Lonzo. Okay.
Did I introduce you twice?
You introduced yourself twice and me twice. The second one was a little more elaborate.
Well, we deserved it.
Yeah, I agree.
We deserve it. So, NGL. I look up at the TV every handful of minutes or so. And what I have seen is that every time I look up at the television, there's football on. Now, the Talking Heads shows this AM are doing what the Talking Head shows do, which is to just ask the same questions and have the same debates every single day. Like right now. I shan't say what show we are looking at and talking about, but the question is, will the Chiefs be good this year? Like, all right, I feel like granted, that's a fine conversation to have, but like, I've seen it fit 11 times. Okay.
That's why I have been, and I may have to change since some news broke over the weekend. I've been watching NFL Network, and they jump around to all the camps. This morning, I got to watch a wonderful thing on the New Orleans Saints.
Wonderful's probably stretching it, but
I was going to say they didn't seem to be too high on the team. So, I mean, they were just like trying to find things to make it sound like you should be hopeful.
I mean, Spencer Rattler, from what I understand, looked pretty good the last few days.
Nothing wrong with that.
So, I mean, whoa, living on a prayer. That one being, of course, that Rattler gets the start and the opportunity to prove himself, because I am 99.972% confident that if he does not start week 1, the wife's out on the Saints this year. Like, I've gotten her in over the past 5 years. I'm relatively sure if they don't start Spence, the grudge that she will hold against them will overshadow her willingness to be a Saints fan in order to make me feel better on Sundays.
So there's a chance that you might be going, oh, shuck. As so many times.
Yes, there is. Here is, if there is any good news, the good news here. The good news here might very well be that, the good news might very well be that, oh, wait, there's none. Never mind.
You had hope for, like, I don't know, about 5 seconds of dead air, and then you realize that, no, there isn't any.
There isn't.
No, there is hope,
no,
because they play in the NFC South, and there's always a chance.
The good news, if there is any, is very simply that we might be so bad this year. We may very well be so bad this year that all the quarterbacks get a chance. That might be the good news.
Hey, maybe the Browns will trade you Kenny Pickett, huh? There you go.
I'll take my shot with Rat Daddy. Thank you very much. All right, we got a lot we got to get to on the radio program. Let's knock this out real quick. Let's talk a little bit more National Football League. Now, 5 minutes ago, I made fun of one of the big talking head shows because they have lumbered into the "is Kansas City bad now?" conversation that has been happening for a while. And respectfully, I think that's a silly take.
No, it's don't say respectfully. It's disrespectful.
No, respectfully, it is a silly take. It is, even I will acknowledge, tiptoeing into the Chiefs' disrespect that Lonzo loves to lean into every single year. as I mock them for leaning into the same old conversation, allow me to now dive into the Micah Parsons, Jerry Jones situation, which is all we talked about this weekend. Now, I have addressed this ongoing situation for two reasons. The first is the acknowledgement that whether you, I, or anybody else likes it, the Cowboys, by being as arrogant, entitled, and obnoxious as they are, and by that I mean 97% of their fans, the 3% of them that aren't work for and manage this station. All the rest of you, though. I do this segment, A, because I know there's a lot of them, and B, because of them, I know many of us have some level of schadenfreude about this football team. That is to say, we live for, enjoy, embrace their continued existence of mediocrity and enjoy the lamenting of their fans. So, we talked about it quite a bit last week, that JJ has unnecessarily extended the drama between the Dallas Cowboys and the guy that I truly believe is their best football player, Micah Parsons. When I say unnecessarily, what I have taken away from it is this. Micah Parsons wanted a new contract. He did not get one, and just a few days ago, Micah Parsons said he does not wish to play for the Dallas Cowboys anymore. That is a nearly direct quote. He said, I no longer wish to play for the Dallas Cowboys. He put that on Twitter. He also said on Twitter that he personally handed his trade request to Stephen Jones, the son of Cowboys owner / general manager Jerry Jones. And by the way, Jerry's doing a great job. Just ask any Philadelphia Eagles fans, and they'll be happy to tell you. Since then, this story has gotten even more, interesting, hilarious, or sad, depending on who you ask. Interesting and hilarious to me. Sad if you ask any fan of the Dallas Cowboys. Because Jera, never seeing a microphone that he did not feel compelled to say words into, Jerry was asked about it over the weekend after the trade request was submitted by Micah Parsons. And Jerry said that there's a lot going on behind the scenes that you guys never get told. And then he said, and I quote, don't lose any sleep over it. That's the one thing I would say to our fans. Don't lose any sleep over it. Jerry then responded to a statement that Micah Parsons also made over the weekend. When Micah acknowledged, or should I say, accused the Cowboys of avoiding his agent, Micah basically said, they kept coming to me with offers, and I kept saying, go to my agent. Micah Parsons said, they never once approached my agent with an offer. Jerry, though not directly, indirectly said that he made offers, including, allegedly, one of north of $200 million guaranteed to Micah Parsons, and that he and Micah were making progress on getting a deal done before his agent got involved. And after the agent got involved, that is when the conversations either stopped or started going sideways or whatever. I don't know what the truth is. What I do know is Micah Parsons, I did this survey on the BetMGM network across all of the host, directors, producers, bouncers, and electricians that I work with on the weekends. Because I was on BetMGM Friday night, I was on Bet for the Cycle on Saturday, and I did a couple of guest spots yesterday. And I asked everyone that I came across while having this conversation If I asked you to power rank Micah Parsons in the edge rusher position category in the NFL, where would you have him? And I did not meet one person that said they had Micah Parsons outside the top 3 or 4. And I think that's abundantly fair. I think it's abundantly fair to say he is, without question, a top 5 edge rusher. I would say, without question, a top 4 edge rusher. I would be willing to say I would have him inside of the probably top 3 edge rushers. And considering this guy has been in Dallas since he got drafted, since this guy has been committed pre-draft, there was a video going around over the weekend of Micah Parsons before the draft. There he was selected by the Cowboys, asking, who do you want to play for? And saying, I hope it's the Cowboys. I've been a lifelong Cowboys fan. I want to start with the Cowboys. I want to end with the Cowboys. I want to be a Cowboys. And I want to be a Cowboys forever. This guy has been uniquely committed to this football team in an era of guys not doing that. And yet, here we are. So JJ is now effectively accusing the agent of screwing it all up, saying we had a deal, we had numbers, we were good to go, but then the agent stepped in and it's been all downhill. And Micah saying, how is that the truth? You never even talked to him. You kept coming to me. And I was saying, no, go to my agent, go to my guy, go to the guy who gets me as much money as I can. Go to that guy, get that deal done with him. And now a guy who quite literally cried when he got the phone call from Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys that they were drafting him. Now that guy does not want to be a member of that football team anymore. And this is why the conversation we had last week becomes important.
Really quick. So is this more about the pay? I mean, I know the pay is important, but is this more about what Jerry Jones is saying in the media? To the point where this is a matter of pride. Now you need to get up out of there, because if you play for this guy with the stuff that he's saying, then you're basically saying, it's okay.
I do think there is probably some degree to that. In fact, there were a number of ex-athletes that have encouraged, applauded, handed flowers, whatever you want to use, to Micah Parsons for doing this. Saying, hey, man, like you are doing things. I think Des Bryant was one of them, actually, because we all remember the drama that led to Des Bryant's exit from the Dallas Cowboys. Des Bryant was, you could argue, maybe coming out of, but still in his prime when he left Dallas. And Des was kind of in a similar situation in that he had nothing but positive things to say about the Dallas Cowboys when he was there. But then he gets out, and there was some bickering back and forth, and he's mostly put it to bed. But Des got involved in the story over the course of the weekend when he tweeted out effectively calling Jerry Jones a liar, effectively calling JJ to the carpet, and said at one point, and I don't have the tweet pulled up in front of me, but basically said, because JJ invoked the name of Des Bryant, basically compared the situations. Invoked the name of Des Bryant, and Des said on Twitter, whoa, don't bring me into this, bro, because I got stories too. And if you want story time, we'll have story time with Des. And JJ ain't brought Des up again since then. Here's what I think, in my ever so humble opinion, just based on the way it's played out, here's where I'm at. Number one, I think Micah Parsons is gone. Now, I had somebody on the show on Saturday say, wait a minute, Rob. Remember, Myles Garrett said the same thing in Cleveland. And then he became the highest paid edge rusher in the NFL. And I said, yes, but there are two things here. Number one, I think that Myles Garrett had a leverage play there. Quick, name me another Browns defensive player. Anybody? Bueller? No? Didn't think so. Myles Garrett knew for a Browns football team that no matter how bad they are, just refuse to acknowledge that they are bad. They like, this team has been due for a rebuild for a number of years now, and they don't do it because the Haslams just refuse to acknowledge, hey, we have kind of allowed this football team to be bad. Like, we've allowed them to get bad. So they just keep upping the game. And Myles Garrett knew that. Terry McLaurin, Washington Commanders, not getting paid, said he requested a trade. Leverage play. Because outside of Debo, who is not very talented, not a number one receiver. He's a utility guy. He's a plug-and-play guy. You can put him at the 1, but you can put him at the 2. You can put him at the 3. You can put him in the slot. You can put him on the wing. You can put him in the backfield. He's that Reggie Bush can do a little bit of anything and everything guy. And because of that, he's not your one. Quick, name me another Commanders wide receiver. Remember, they got a good team, went to an NFC championship game last year, have Jaden Daniels, the reigning defending, and well, you can't defend, but the reigning NFL offensive player, rookie of the year. Quick, name me another Commanders wide receiver. You can't, because they don't have anybody else. McLaurin's pulling a leverage play. I don't think Micah Parsons is pulling a leverage play. I think he's being sincere. I think he wants out. I think he, and this is going to be the big question, is he and will he sit out? Will he say, you know what, I'd rather not get paid than play here? Because if the answer is no, then none of this matters. If the answer is he wants out, no, or he's not willing to sit out, none of this matters. And do keep in mind, he only has to play 6 games. If he plays in 6 games, he gets a year's service time, which means he still gets paid. But if he does sit out, Dallas is kind of bleeped on defense, if we're being honest. So, is he willing to sit? And I think he is. I think the vibes are different. He's still there, he's still whatever, but I think he's willing to sit when time comes around. Here's what I think actually happened. I think Jerry Jones made a point. I think Jerry Jones is too prideful is the word I'm going to go with here, though there's other ones I could use. I think he's too prideful to take a step back, walk it back, and go, yeah, you know what? I need to lay down on this one. I need to pay our best player. Let me lay down. I think he's too prideful to do it. Because he would have to acknowledge he is wrong. You know what the most dangerous guy in any situation that involves authority is? The guy who refuses to acknowledge he's wrong and fix the mistake. You ever work for a guy who won't say, I'm wrong, that's on me, and here's how I'm going to fix it? Get the hell out of that situation. Because you are going to go down with that ship. So, I think that's where we are. I think Jerry screwed up. I think Jerry's too proud to acknowledge it and fix it. And I think it's going to cost them the best player they have on the football team. A bad owner / GM can ruin your franchise. That's why Dallas ain't been back to the dance in 30 years. Back after this, not in 30 years, in like 3 minutes on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
You see.
All right, guys, quick live coming right back. Stay right there. right, thanks for hanging in there, dudes. Yes, Sam, I will be there tonight. I got you on the calendar. I got you on the schedule. I will be there. I will be ready to roll, man. Send me some questions to my email that you have, and we'll be good to go, man. I am in. Blocked off the schedule for it. From fish to fresh.
Not only do I expect those rain showers, I have seen them all morning.
No, you're good, brother. No worries at all, Sam. Thanks for being a teacher. Make sure you teach the kids all about college football and why it's so amazing. That's your job today. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. I do want to very quickly finish off that conversation about Micah Parsons and the Dallas Cowboys that we were having before we went to break. There has been conversation about Jerry not wanting to trade Micah, and I'm sure that he does not. And I do acknowledge that there is the chance that I'm very wrong, that Jerry at some point decides that even if he's got to, without saying it, acknowledge he's wrong and give the contract to Micah Parsons, that puts him into that top 3 best paid edge rusher spot that, in my ever so humble opinion, he's earned. He's got to acknowledge he was wrong, even if he doesn't outright say that he was wrong. There is the chance that he does not trade him. My belief is that he will. And I have heard a lot of complaints that he won't, or a lot of pushback that he won't, because there won't be a big return for him. I'm going to say I don't believe that's the case. Because over the past couple of years, I think edge rusher has jumped up next to quarterback as the most important position on the football field. I have pointed out a couple of times. I think that there are guys in this year's NFL draft at the edge rush spot that in years gone by would have been a second or a third round pick that ended up going in the first round, because teams will take a flyer, will take a risk to try to find the next great edge rusher. And just for the lulz, Jared Allen, who went into the NFL's Hall of Fame this weekend, Jared Allen was viewed as a 7th round draft pick when he came out of college. He was viewed as an unathletic, mediocre speed, not super physical 3rd round draft pick. Guy got enshrined in the Hall of Fame this weekend. Teams are going to be willing to, as they are with quarterbacks, draft them well ahead of their grade, hoping that they stumble into a Tom Brady, stumble into a Jared Allen, stumble into a Hall of Famer. So because of that, if tomorrow Jera didn't even come out and go, yeah, we thought about it and we decided we're going to go ahead and put him on the block, I do think he would get a good prize. Probably not as much as if it was wide open. Probably not as much as it would be if Micah Parsons was already on a contract that he was happy with. Because whoever goes and gets this guy, they understand they're going to have to immediately assign him to a new contract that is going to eat up a chunk of the cap, which also limits the number of teams that can get him, but there are teams that can get him. And there are teams that have the flexibility to create a contract for Micah Parsons that he would be happy with, and they would pick up one of the top 2 or 3 edge rushers in the National Football League. So I don't know how this plays out. There is a chance that Micah's back with the Dallas Cowboys. But, as I said Saturday, and I do my darndest not to make prognostications based on the vibes. But I got the vibes here. I got vibes that this one's different. This is not a leverage holdout. This is not a just trying to get paid and playing the bluffing game holdout. I fully and honestly believe that Micah Parsons is done with Dallas. This doesn't feel like a lot of the other guys. Myles Garrett, Terry McLaurin, where it felt like, this is a leverage move. This is a guy who understands that he's got the leverage to strong arm the team into giving him what he wants. This is a dude that recognizes, I don't know what else I have to do for you. I genuinely don't know what else I can do. I've gone to multiple Pro Bowls. Yeah, I've been injured, but not like end of career over and over and over again injured. I've been here. I've done that. Granted, there is the pushback that repeatedly Micah Parsons has disappeared in playoff games for the Cowboys.
Wait, the Cowboys play playoff games?
Not often, but yes.
Okay, all right.
They have done it more than a couple
recently?
times. Recently, just not as recently as I'm sure Gerald and the rest of the game
How good
would
were they
like.
last year?
Not great, Bob.
Okay, all right.
Not awful, but not great. I get the criticism. There are some aspects of Micah Parsons' game that, yes, even I will acknowledge are problematic for a guy who wants a $200+ million deal with most of it, if not all of it, guaranteed. But, again, in order to get that deal done, Jerry would have to, at this point, I fully believe, give Micah Parsons everything that he wants, which he's already said without saying, I'm not going to do, and also come out and acknowledge I'm wrong. And if there's one thing Jerry Jones has become known for since he decided to name himself as the acting general manager 3+ decades ago, it's never doing that. Like I said, if you ever find yourself working for, employed by somebody who is known for their refusal to take accountability and responsibility for mistakes that they have made, get the hell away from that guy. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you are working for somebody who has never been willing to say, yeah, guys, I may have screwed that one up. That's on me. That's my bad. Get away from that guy because you are on a sinking ship and it will take you down with it. All right. Speaking of, real quick, just because we had the discussion, the Terry McLaurin thing, like I said a few minutes ago, I genuinely think that's a leverage play. The Commanders last year, NFC Championship game, Terry McLaurin was a big part of the reason why. They don't really have anybody else. I don't think that they can have... By the way, there's still questions about Debo. Debo showed up to camp overweight. I am not on the fat Debo hate train. I get it. It was off season. Same with Patrick Mahomes. That's a dumb take.
Is he fat Debo now?
He's not skinny Debo.
Okay. Well, he's always been kind of big. So,
no,
I mean,
it ain't that. It ain't that. Dude showed up with a couple of LBs.
Well, is he like Butterbean or something? How fat are we talking?
A noticeable, cannot dispute it difference. He has some LBs he carried in. That being said, I also know that Deebo Samuel's a workhorse. I also think that there is probably, I could guess, based on his departure from the San Francisco 49ers, I also suspect we are going to get the Deebo Samuel revenge tour. But, yes, he is carrying a few more LBs than he was when he was at his prime in San Francisco. He's not, even if he gets back down to his best playing weight, he's not the best version of himself. And if he's not the best version of himself, even if he is the best version of himself, but if he's not the best version of himself, no, he's not a number one. Terry's doing it because he knows he's got all the leverage in the situation. I don't think Micah Parsons has much leverage at all other than I'm your best player. So if you want me here, pay me, and if you don't, I'm gone. So we'll see how this plays out. All right, we'll get away from the NFL when we come back here in just a minute. John Blau is a young, intrepid reporter who covers the Clemson Tigers for the Post and Courier. Let's give a check-in after a few days of practice up in Clemson, South Carolina, where he thinks the Tiger football team is today and where he thinks it will be in just over 3 weeks when the Tigers play the Tigers in Death Valley. This one, the one that's here. That's next. Rob Lonzo and you. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Show some highlights on a VCR. Oh, man. All right, guys, we're going to get John Blau set up. Y'all stay right there. We will be right back. Back on your radio, it is the Fan Upstate. It is Monday morning at 8:40 in the morning, which means now, as we do every Monday, we turn to the phone lines and we welcome in a young man who covers the Clemson Tigers athletic department for the Post and Courier. Joining us now on the radio program is John Blau. John, welcome back to the show, big fella. How we doing?
I'm good. How are you, Rob?
I'm very well. Let me ask you a question real quick. Broadcast professional to broadcast professional. Is there a word, whether it is in the writing element of the game or the speaking element of the game, is there a word you stumble over? Like you just know if you have to get that word into an article or into an interview or whatever, is there a word that you stumble over every time?
Man, that's not a question I was expecting. I would need to think about that, honestly. Honestly, I'm not thinking about something that I stumble over now, but I'm thinking of something from childhood. When I was in the fifth grade spelling bee, the word was pitcher, and I thought they said picture, so I spelled Picture, and it was actually pitcher, like Pitcher, and that one always haunts me.
I'm really glad you said that because I also have a core spelling bee memory from third grade that'll never go away, which is this kid from southeastern Louisiana got asked to spell the word oyster, and I blew it, John Blau. And that entire year is just gone from the Rob Brown memory bank, except that one word of humiliation, not because I lost the B, because the Louisiana family has never let me forget that I lost it on the word oyster. It seems that spelling bee horror memories are like a thing we all share.
Do you not get ejected from the family and not knowing how to spell a seafood element?
I had to fight my way back in, John. I really thought there was a solid chance I was going into the orphanage after that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and me personally, just the lesson was you have to ask for the word in a sentence. That is a very key element. You need to ask to get the context clues. I don't know why I didn't do that. That was a horrible mistake on my part.
Well, if we ever get into an adult spelling bee, John Blau, we've learned our lessons. All right, let's talk a little football here. I know that we are still 3 and some change weeks away from Clemson LSU in week number 1, but there's obviously a lot of narrative. This is one of the first big few games of official Saturday number 1. It is a highlight game. I know we're a ways out, and I want to dial in on some of the things we are thinking about the week 1 contest, but do you have a 36,000-foot view of this game? There's questions about Cade Klubnik and Garrett Nussmeier. Questions about where Brian Kelly is and how much pressure's on him. LSU going to bring a very unique defense. Not really a nickel, not really a 3-4. They kind of have a star player that runs a linebacker safety hybrid. There's a lot of different directions with this game. What is your way too early but not super early take on that week 1 matchup where we sit today on August 4th?
Yeah, I mean, this is probably the most big picture thing possible. But again, can Clemson win a big game? I mean, you look back on last year, and obviously everybody's really hyped up because they bring everybody back. But you got smoked by Georgia. You lose to South Carolina at home. You lost to Louisville at home. You had to really rally at Texas to make that a game. When you're playing an elite team and you're playing an SEC team, and I know that's obviously going to get a lot of people riled up, whether you like or hate the SEC, but can you, on your own home turf, be not only competitive but win this game? And obviously Brian Kelly's been saying all he's been saying about the Death Valleys in LSU and Clemson's Death Valley Junior and all that. Can you, with the extreme hype of this game, the extreme hype of this season for you guys in terms of all the guys you bring back with Klubnik, like you're saying, with the defense, it was lackluster but has a new defensive coordinator, the wide receiver talent being the best it's been in a while. Is this a game that you can actually go and win? And I think that's going to, obviously the season's not over if they lose it, but I think the narrative on Clemson is a little different if they, again, lose one of these games, especially in openers that they've not been very good in for a while.
It's a weird spot because on one hand, John Blau, I've said a few times, the loser of this game is in no way, shape, or form eliminated from the playoffs, if only because you can still go win your respective conference and find your way in. But if either one of these teams ends up having to find an at-large spot, they lose in the conference championship game or whatever, this game becomes massively important, both because there's not a lot of room for error in terms of additional losses if you've got to get an overall record-wise. A, and B, would serve as a fantastic resume builder on either side. Do you think that that is kind of an angle that is considered by this team, by Dabo Swinney, by the players itself, or is this just being approached as, let's go win the ball game?
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about Dabo Swinney and talk about players, I mean, they stick to those coachisms. It's all over their T-shirts at practice, too. You see that they have these shirts on that say one on them, and the O is a paw, and it's one day at a time. It's one game at a time, and obviously one is week one as well. But, yeah, they're not, I think thinking very big picture about what does it mean for the whole season, do or die type of thing. I'm sure the way they're framing it is, at this point, still 26 days away. It's about day, 26 away, 25 away, 24 away, and trying to, quote unquote, dominate each day. So I don't think inside the building they're talking a lot about, we need to win this game to prove whatever to X, Y, or Z. I know Dabo has said many times, if you win or lose the first game, doesn't matter because you have to then beat the next opponent because you lose to Troy, that's even worse. And so I'm sure, it's, again, like you said, it's very much just win the ball game, but win each day first, even though that sounds boring to all of us. It's the way they have to think about things and approach things.
John Blau of the Post and Courier joins us every Monday at 8:40 to talk Clemson athletics. I was at ACC Media Days, John. I saw you walking around as well. I've been paying attention to some of the pressers and all that Dabo's been doing afterwards. I think you probably see this. I do on this end where we interact with fans constantly. There's a different atmosphere, environment, or a conversation happening about the Clemson Tigers out here this year, John. In the last couple of years, it's been, well, we should be good, but there's this and there's that. This year, it's a lot of we should be good, period, end of sentence, expectations are there. Is that pressure or expectation, whatever word you want to use here, do you think that's permeated around the football team? Are the expectations of the team by the team, are they palpable around them, or is there some other attitude of let's just go win by week by week? I know that's kind of a tough question to nail down, but is there elevated expectations of the fellas that are going to be dressed out on Saturdays?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's at least a kind of a hope that they can be one of those great Clemson teams. We heard Wade Woodaz say it last week. He was talking about he's kind of tired of Dabo Swinney talking about how great, Trevor Lawrence, Christian Wilkins, Austin Bryant, Dexter Lawrence, all those guys were. He wants all the pictures on the wall to be torn down, and they end up putting, up all the players from this year's team up there. So, I mean, they do have that kind of grand vision, maybe that kind of embrace of the expectations that we have a lot of talent coming back. This team is good enough to be one of those great Clemson teams, and they want to execute on that. They want to make that vision a reality. And and obviously you're talking about fans, but I remember I forget if it was yesterday or the day before, Amari Rogers, the Clemson receiver, was on Twitter saying, "Hey man, I've been as excited for a season since my playing days than this season," because he does really feel like it could be special. So fans, former players, the players themselves, I think they all know there's a chance here with the senior quarterback with so much back with the offensive line again, first rounders potentially on defense, all that. But again, they have to follow through. You can't just bring everybody back and all of a sudden that's better. You do have to get better, and you have to execute better, and you have to play better to kind of succeed on those things.
Did you have any takeaway from Media Days? Was there anything that jumped out? Like last year, we had Kate on, we had Dabo on. There were a couple of things they said that I kind of wanted to follow up that sparked my interest. It felt very, as much as this applies ever to Dabo Swinney, certainly does, I think, to some degree to Kate Klubnik, it felt very buttoned down. It felt very business approach this year compared to years gone by, John Blau. Like it seemed to me like this team, that the guys representing this team at Media Days were just kind of locked in and locked down a little bit. Did anything jump off the table at you, or did you get a similar vibe from them?
Yeah, no, it was a very similar vibe. People were lobbing questions at them about, Brian Kelly and, again, the Death Valley comments, all the stuff they've been saying. And I think that, the quote-unquote juiciest thing was maybe T.J. Parker saying, we'll figure that all out on August 30th. This was kind of alluding to the fact we're going to settle it on the field. But he really didn't. Kind of knew. Again, they know the expectations. They know what everybody's saying about him. It's kind of like Nick Saban said with the rat poison. If you let in too much positivity, you embrace that too much, that's horrible for you. I mean, I think they're kind of taking a little bit of that approach that, hey, it doesn't matter all the guys that said we stunk all those years ago. Kate Klubnik in particular said that. It doesn't matter all the people who are telling me I'm going to win the Heisman this year. And so, it seemed very business-like. I remember seeing when the big weigh-in was starting, Dabo Sweeney saying, hey, talking season's over. I think they're kind of happy that, quote-unquote, talking season is over. Obviously, they still got to talk a little bit to us in interviews for the next couple of weeks until we get to the LSU game. But, very business-like, not trying to feed LSU any bulletin board material, trying to just kind of get on their way and get to the season.
All right, last one, and then we'll let you go, John Blau. We've seen the boys out there in practice a little bit. We've started to see the social media clips fall around. The big question, I think, this year is going to be, what is Clemson's run game? We know LSU is going to want to be on the attack defensively. They're going to want to try to get into the backfield quick. The solution is a good run game. Obviously, you've got a kind of converted wide receiver in Adam Randall being the guy that seems to be the lead with running back. We've talked a number of times about Gideon Davidson, et cetera. What have we seen in terms of the development of the run game so far? Way too early, a month out, less than a month out, but a month out. What are the expectations for Clemson's ability to keep the ball on the ground to keep LSU's defense honest and away from Cade Klubnik?
No, like you said, that's the biggest question. And obviously, we get to see some open practice. We don't get to see a whole lot. But Adam Randall, to be running back number one right now, that says one of two things. Either he's really proven that he can do it, and he's pretty natural at it, and he's transitioning really well, or they really just don't have anybody else that's ready right now. So you can take that one of two ways. But, Adam Randall, it's been all positive reviews of him thus far. I mean, he's talking about how he's studying all these guys, Deebo Samuel, Cordell Patterson, even, Cam Newton, kind of studying how he kind of runs the ball hard, and obviously a 6'2", 235-pound guy, huge, little, angular, definitely has to lower the pad level a little bit, but a guy who gives you a lot of different options in terms of the run of the pass game. But I do think, and this was just a small thing I noticed at practice, Gideon Davidson was the one paired with Adam Randall when they were doing these resistance band workouts, kind of trying to hold him back. It seems like that's the 1-2 right there. I think Adam Randall is your guy, kind of holding down the fort for as long as you need, and then they're kind of hoping Gideon Davidson takes a step, I think, as fast as he possibly can, and gets you that true running back, really talented guy, which obviously it's easier behind an experienced offensive line. So, again, huge mystery. I do not know, and I don't think we're going to know until we see it. But if you believe the positive hype about Adam Randall, if you believe Gideon Davidson is as talented as everybody seems to think he is, then Clemson should be okay in the run game.
You love to hear it. A little mystery, a little intrigue as we get set for Clemson LSU in week one. John Blau covers the Clemson Tiger Athletic Department for the Post and Courier. Kind enough to give us a little time every Monday at 8:40 a.m. John, appreciate it as always, big fella. We got football in 3 weeks, man. Get some naps, get ready. We're almost there.
Yeah, I'll definitely find it some time for some extra ones. I appreciate it.
Ain't no doubt. John Blau, Post and Courier. Find him on X at John Blau, JON_Blau, BLAU. Ladies and gentlemen, kick off your shoes. Unless you're at work, then keep them on. You're not a savage. Relax. Enjoy the best 60 seconds of audio pleasure you will get all day long. It's time for a sports flash.
Kick your shoes off at work. I don't have mine on right now.
Gross.
Who needs shoes? MLB's first ever Speedway Classic played on the infield at Bristol Motor Speedway was rain delayed from Saturday into Sunday, but ultimately won by the Atlanta Braves 4-2 over the Reds. Ricky Hudson Waldrop was credited with the win. The Braves recorded 10 hits over the two-day affair, including a pair of home runs from Greenville native and Wren High School graduate Eli White. William Byron took home the checker flag at the Indy Corn 350 yesterday, fighting off fuel concerns down the stretch en route to his second victory of the season. Byron ran out of gas at both Michigan and Indianapolis this year, costing him wins. Chase Briscoe, Brad Keselowski, Ryan Blaney, and Ryan Preece rounded out the top five. After showing up to camp in a walking boot with a calf strain, Florida quarterback DJ Lagway returned to active practice over the weekend. Lagway will take limited snaps this week. So good for him. I don't know why we care about the Florida quarterback, but, Rob put it in there. So,
Winning.
The final hour of the Monday edition of the Rob Brown Show goes now. It's the fan upstate. Rob Brown, the Great Malonzo, and you,
Pal.
buddy. Be a part of the show, 844-326-3663. If you want to. You can text that number. It is the number to the Hub City Spartanburger text line, 844-326-3663. 844-326-3663. You can call that number and get on the air if you want to, 844-326-3663. You can tweet me at The Rob Brown Show, tweet Lonzo at Lonzo1Word, tweet everybody up in the hizzle at The Fan Upstate if you wish to go in that direction. We'd love to have you there as well. You can also join our live stream, facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, The Fan Upstate on YouTube, The Fan Upstate on Twitter. Search and subscribe and like and smash the follow button and all those other things that you need to smash, do, like, and say to be a part of the broadcast. You can also, if you got something more long format, don't want to come on the air, rob.brown@thefanupstate.com if you want to drop me a line. Shout out to the 2024-25 Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year Award winner, Chris Miller, showing up in the chat this morning. Good morning to you as Chris as well, and congrats on at this point, is your trophy cabinet just the whole house? It's just a cabinet at this point?
There's nothing wrong with having a crystal wall. I mean,
yeah,
a wall full of the crystal.
Yeah, I'm telling you, my man, rack it up. And of course, congratulations to our colleagues, comrades, partners, and in arms, wire to wire with Cole Bryson and Diesel, as Cole Bryan and Kerosene went over there and picked up the Merit Award for. Listen, as I've said personally a number of times, you come and check it a second to the Tom Brady of local sports talk radio, Chris Miller. You done all right, kid. So congrats to the boys.
By the way, I am not going to have this defeatist attitude. We had this discussion earlier. Chris Miller can be beat. He is a man. He's not a machine. He can be beat.
He does bleed. Congrats, Chris, and congrats.
Hopefully you don't bleed because, we want you to have a good day. So, yeah.
I found this chart from Gridiron Gridlock on Instagram. Now, especially this close to football, these types of post, whatever, would not encourage a segment out of me. But this one did. I got a reaction, and I spent far longer than I'm proud to acknowledge yesterday really evaluating if these quarterback power rankings are correct or not. Now, the power rankings of these NFL quarterbacks, all of the starters.
Nope.
Are not how they are as quarterbacks, Alonzo. In fact, I want you to retract your nope, because you are going to dig this. This is a tier ranking of all projected definite starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
Tier as in like a cake.
Tier,
not as things that fall out of your eyes.
Correct. A tiered list of all known projected starting week one quarterbacks and their ability to win a fist fight.
You mean like an actual
yeah.
Oh crap, he's ready to go.
Yeah.
Kind of. Okay.
Yeah,
all
like
right.
put your hair up and square up fist fight.
Okay.
Here are the tier rankings. Tier number 1, I would confidently back them. There are 4 quarterbacks in this tier. Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Anthony Richardson, Baker Mayfield.
All right, I agree with two of them.
I'm going to say you agree with Hurts and Mayfield?
Yes.
Okay. Hurts because he could Leonidas Spartan kick you through a wall.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
That dude would put boot to ass and remove ass. That man can squat a Buick. Yeah. Like there's power in them hips. He puts the max in gluteus maximus. I don't have an issue with him.
And Baker is just crazy. I mean, he planted flags. He's done things. That crazy don't go away.
Baker planted a flag and was ready to fight 77,000 people at one point. And I'm not sure he wouldn't have won that fight.
Oh, come on.
Richardson, I'm up in the air about. Because there's parts of Anthony Richardson that I think is certified G. However, man's gotten banged up a lot. He's been hurt a lot. I wonder if the jaw's not made of a little bit of glass, A. And B, I wonder when bleep hit fan if the mentality of win the fight wouldn't break down a little bit. I wonder if Josh Allen is removed off of the list of I would confidently back them to win a fight because Lonzo, is a world-class hater, or if you have a genuine argument.
I think he is on this list because of his fans, not him. His fans will fight anybody and probably got a good shot at winning, but I don't see him as a likes to fight guy. He's going to have reach and things like that. He's not built like a fighter. Those other guys, Jalen Hurts built like he could fight. Same with Baker, built like he could fight. I don't think Josh Allen is built that way. Josh
Allen's like 6'5", 240. Josh Allen dwarfs everyone in this building.
It's not about height. It's about thickness, about chest thickness, and size of arms.
All right, hot take then. Josh Allen's the most physically run game quarterback in the NFL. There is no one in the NFL at quarterback who runs tougher than Josh Allen.
By the way, some would say that Lamar does, but I get what you're saying. Josh Allen runs tough, but running tough means he's just going to run away tough.
No,
fight.
No, I think Josh Allen and Jaden Daniels are the only two quarterbacks who make me nervous when they run because they're running into contact.
I would take Joe Burrow in a fight any day over Josh Allen.
All right. Tier number 2. Scrappy guys who could be sneaky good fighters. They've got Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and Kyler Murray as scrappy guys who could be sneaky good fighters.
The scrappy thing. Yeah, it's just okay. No. I mean, in every group, that really short guy is the guy with the biggest mouth, but also the one who doesn't fight. So you need to take Kyler out of there.
See, I understand that, and I know that guy. I know that prototype. I'm not saying it's not a prototype. There is also, every now and then, that one undersized dude who has had to be a good fighter because they get themselves into it. And we've got a guy in my frat bro group of friends that are still in our group text. We got a dude in our frat bro group of friends who goes about 5'6". We call him Tweak because he reminds us of the South Park character. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you threw out some of the boys, that guy I would be willing to bet would take down a number of bigger dudes because he's just that bite the ankle till the foot comes off kind of dude. I don't know. I'm with you. I don't think Kyler Murray's in that group. I might drop him down a tier or two. I'll tell you what the next few are. Drake May, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, no issue with any of them. Lamar's a maybe borderline. I think Jaden Daniels and Drake May both absolutely go there.
Here's the problem with Lamar. Lamar's too cool. No one's ever going to want to fight him. I mean, when you have a cool factor, those guys that are so cool.
This isn't a most likely. This is a
if they had
football
to
genie puts him in it. You're in a fight.
All right,
There's not an option.
All right.
You're in a fight. How's he going to do?
Kyler needs to be in the last tier, and I'm reaching height and other things come into play for me.
World-class hater. Tier number 3 would use their experience and IQ to pull off the upset. So they're going as a dog, but they can pull an upset. This is the most inclusive tier. Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith, Matt Stafford, Joey Burrow, Bo Nix, Jared Goff, Brock Purdy on this list.
All right. I don't know about Brock Purdy because, he's not. That dude looks like he's never been in a fight in his life. He looks like rich kid frat bro, never had to do anything because
if you're putting that on Brock Purdy, you're putting that on Brock Purdy, you better damn well put it on Joe Burrow too.
Here's the thing.
That's the most frat boy looking dude I've ever seen in my life.
Here's the thing with Joe Burrow. He's had to deal with looking like Macaulay Culkin his entire life, which means he's had to fight his entire life because everyone wants to beat up Macaulay Culkin. Who wants
to beat up Macaulay Culkin?
Other kids want to beat up Macaulay Culkin because he was famous.
I don't know anybody who dislikes Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, neither do I because he's a wrestling fan, which makes him amazing. But as kids, as a kid, he probably looked more like Macaulay Culkin and probably had to deal with more crap. I'm just saying. So I'm gonna go with Joe Burrow. Needs to go up, not down.
Joe Burrow. I get the vibe from Joe Burrow that he's one of those dudes that
dude, he's Batman. I mean, he's
no, he never bought that thing, by the way.
Yeah, well,
because his house got robbed.
He was going to. Yeah.
Joe Burrow strikes me as that dude that nobody ever has had a reason to want to fight Joe Burrow. He's cool, man. I started watching. I finally got around to starting. I got around to finally starting to watch the season 2 of Quarterback on Netflix. And Joe is featured in episode number 1, and they're going through his rehab to be ready for last season. And he's in his house, and he's the most chill, laid back dude in the game. And they go to him and they're like, "What are you doing to get ready?" And he says, "Well, it was my wrist that was injured, and to get back my flexibility and coordination and get my hand ready, I'm teaching myself how to play piano." Because that's all about wrist movement, finger movement, coordination, whatever. And they said, "Oh, are you getting lessons?" And he goes, "No, I like to watch YouTube. I'm just watching a bunch of YouTube videos." And I'm like, "Hey, me too. And you love fossils? What a dude. What a guy. Love this guy."
Also, there's some frugality in there because he doesn't want to pay for lessons. I mean,
Well, he's got like a $22,000 baby grand piano in his house that he bought for this.
Yeah,
so, maybe not that.
Well, no, you don't want anyone touching that but you. So, I mean.
I'm going to go with.
Did they actually show him playing the piano?
Yeah.
Is he any good?
He's no good, but he's learning. He's better than I am.
What was he playing? Do you remember?
I know. It's some classical song.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, he's like, I watch a bunch of YouTube videos. I taught myself. And he's like, he's definitely a dude that you would think took some lessons.
Be on there playing Billy Joel or something.
No, it's just some generic learning classical song, but he's pretty good at it. I'm going to go
Maybe
with
some Coldplay.
Hot take. I don't think it's disrespectful. Find out. I don't think Patrick Mahomes wins a fight. I don't think he wins a fight. He has got to me, all scrap on the football field. He does not strike me for a second as a guy who's got bar fight scrap in him.
If
you want a quarterback
in the league, I was going to defend that? I agree with you. He should be on the bottom of the list.
Bottom tier.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Bottom tier for Mahomes.
I don't even think that's disrespectful.
Tier 4 could land a punch or two, but they're lovers, not fighters. Here's that list: Dak Prescott, Justin Fields, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, Russell Wilson, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young. I have one issue with this list. Dak Prescott played his football down in Mississippi. I bet you Dak's got some punch. I'm not saying he's going tier 1. I think I would put him into that scrappy guy conversation. Not that Dak's scrappy. He's thick. But outside of that, I don't really think I have an issue with this list. I can move Justin Herbert down a little bit. He's probably a little bit too California golden boy for me.
Yeah, see, I might move C.J. Stroud up 1.
C.J. Stroud up 2 would use experience and IQ, or could be sneaky good.
It could be sneaky good. He's got that edge to him when he needs it. I don't know if you've seen him or heard him when he's a little ticked off. I think maybe C.J. Stroud moves up a little.
You know what? I don't push back on that one. I agree with that one. I think C.J. Stroud in the scrappy guy could be a sneaky good fighter list is fine. I would move Russell Wilson down. I think like Mahomes, I don't think there's a scrap of fight. When I say fight, I mean fist fight. I don't think there's a scrap of fist fight in Russell Wilson. I think that dude's way too plastic, way too fake to think he's a fist fighter.
I would have agreed until I saw where he was yesterday. And when I saw where he was yesterday, like near the front row of watching SummerSlam, makes me think that maybe he'd at least get in there and try some stuff. Everyone that goes to wrestling thinks they can fight. Yep. Come on. Come on.
I think we all think we can wrestle.
By the way.
Not fight. I'm talking bar fight. I'm not talking about cage. I'm talking about punching each other in the face bar fight.
Right. I can clothesline someone.
You're not.
I'm going
to tell you straight up. I've been around enough of them. This is why what wrestling move could be used in a bar fight conversation is fun. I am telling you for a fact, you are not clotheslining somebody in a bar fight. That will not work in a bar fight. I've been around a lot of them. That's not working.
You will if they don't see you.
That's a cheap shot, and you're a disgusting piece of crap.
It's also a bar fight. I mean, so you're expecting fair play? All right, let's square off and look at each other in the eye and shake each other's hand and go, good luck, man. No, that's not how that works.
I am also telling you, a clothesline with the hand extended is not
What do you mean with the hand extended?
with the arm out.
No, it's one of these.
That's
man.
not a clothesline.
It
That
is
would
to
be-
a clothesline.
A clothesline is a line.
All
It's
right.
the arm out.
All right, Rob. You stand over there and let me come and hit you right here with this.
That's not a clothesline.
It is a clothesline.
All right. Technicality of the move aside. That's not, I don't care how you are. That's not generating enough force to
I've
take a
never
dude
seen
out
you
in a
be
bar
so
fight.
wrong as you are about clothesline.
One of us has been in bars and wrestled. One of us ain't.
Here's the
How
other
many bar
thing.
fights you been around? I've been around a lot.
Designated driver. And I've told you this a bunch of times. You just automatically assume because I don't drink that I haven't been around people who do drink and also wanted to fight a bunch.
And finally, our final tier. Would fold like a lawn chair, or they're a complete wild card. Sam Darnold, Caleb Williams, Tua Tagovailoa, Trevor Lawrence, J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr. I'm going to keep it a buck. I think this might be the only tier that I don't have any problems with.
All right. Maybe Sam Darnold. And here's the reason why. Punchable face. And when you got punchable face, and you've been punched a lot, eventually you're like, heck with this, I'm fighting back. So I'm out of all those guys, maybe out of every quarterback that you've mentioned, Sam Darnold has the most punchable face.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think that's probably fair. I think there would be some people that would argue.
Maybe Baker you throw in there, but it's just because of attitude.
See, I don't think
As
Baker
far
has a
as-
punchable
as far as
face.
punchable face, it's him and Herbert.
Punchable face to me insinuates that you look at a guy's face and you go, you just go, that guy sucks.
All right,
I don't even know him.
Here's
That guy
the thing.
sucks.
I think that's also a perception thing. It's who I think is punchable and who you think is punchable may be different. Anyone who looks like a frat boy, rich frat boy, could have been a villain in an 80s movie. That's the guy I want to
See,
punch.
I'm putting Joe Burrow in that group. And you know me, I love Joe Burrow. I love Joey B. He is the coolest guy in the league to me. I love Joey B. And Brock Purdy. I don't love Brock Purdy like I love Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Straight up bro crush on Joe Burrow.
You've mentioned the guys who are definitely that guy,
But
though.
those are definitely those guys. That being said, I don't see that. I see the punchable
And I
face.
guess you could probably put Russell Wilson in with those guys, too.
Yeah, but Russell feels like to some degree he's kind of earned the punchable face just by being Russell Wilson. The rest of these guys, I don't have an issue. I'm pulling for Caleb Williams. I get it. Tua Tagovailoa, if you breathe on his head too much, you might knock him out. Sunshine, I'm pulling for TL16. But Sunshine doesn't look like a guy that can go. Sunshine, so of all the guys on the list, Trevor looks like the dude that would be like, oh, you want to go, bro? And then would turn around to his gaggle of buddies and be
his
like,
boys
get that
gonna-
guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. TL 100% has that 80s movie bad guy vibe to him, without a doubt. JJ McCarthy, JJ feels like maybe he can scrap a little bit. I just don't know yet.
Yeah, he played at Michigan. They're all punks.
I got no read on Michael Penix Jr. None at all. All right, who's too high? Who's too low of this year's starting quarterbacks on the they'll win a fight power rankings? Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Dumb segment, too fun to pass up.
Hey, listen, I enjoyed it, and I'll be thinking about that all day.
Dumb segment, too much fun to pass up on.
I'll probably be thinking about how much I would still, I'd just like to punch Sam Darnold. And I don't know why. Sam Darnold seems okay.
Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Luka Doncic signed a 3-year, $156 million extension with the Los Angeles Lakers on Friday. It is the maximum amount that, being a new Laker, he was under the current collective bargaining agreement allowed to make. It also opens him up for next offseason, a season in which he could have become an unrestricted free agent, as his now old contract was up next offseason, prevents him from doing so, and in the process opens him up to be eligible for a 5-year max extension of north of $350 million, which would theoretically would have recouped the money that he would have been paid by the Dallas Mavericks this year, but they didn't have to pay him because they traded him. This, to me, makes next year's LA Lakers, even if you do not like or care about the Lakers, this makes them a very interesting story to me. And here's why. The Lakers now, by signing Luka to this contract, in my opinion, are now Luka Doncic's team. It is not a question mark anymore. It is now Luka Doncic's basketball team. And the reason why that it is Luka Doncic's basketball team is they have elected to pay this guy every dollar that they could pay him, and that comes along with, according to reports out of LA, effectively a promise, a handshake deal, that they will re-sign him to a new max contract extension next year. Ordinarily, when a guy gets a max contract, he's going to play for at least 3 years on it before he is re-upped to the next max contract. But the report is that handshake agreement, they will give him another max contract extension next year. This is also interesting because of the question marks about the future of LeBron James. LeBron James coming back to the Lakers this year, but you will remember a story a couple of weeks ago when all of the will the Lakers trade LeBron stuff came out. There was an announcement about LeBron James that did not come from the Lakers. It did not come from LeBron James. The only party involved that said anything about it was LeBron's agent, Rich Paul. And I brought that up at the time, and I said, this is very interesting because LeBron James loves to talk about LeBron James when possible, whether it's on social media, whether it's on podcast. We talked about this a number of times because LeBron was on like 4 podcasts dramatically over the past couple of weeks. He was on the pod with Steve Nash and Kevin Durant. He was on his own. There were like 2 or 3 others. He was on McAfee's show during the course of the year last year. And the fact that he had nothing to say, I asked the question. And again, I try not to get terribly caught up in and carried away with drama of players and teams. Now, there are times that you have to because it becomes a running storyline. But I try not to get overly carried away in player and team drama. But I do think it was fair to ask the question, is this unavoidable drama for the Lakers? Now I look and I say, it almost kind of feels like it has to be. Because it feels to me like next season, this upcoming season, for the first time in the 21 seasons that LeBron James has played, will play in the National Basketball Association, this feels genuinely like the first time like LeBron James is on somebody else's team and not the other way around. And the question mark that I have, which I think turns into the storyline for this team this year, is he good with that? Does he, as a 41-year-old player in the NBA, as a soon-to-be 21-year veteran in the NBA, as a guy who, from the moment he was drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers, through his stops in Miami, Cleveland, Los Angeles, has always been the marquee, has always been the poster boy, has always been the best player and primary focus of his team. Is he going to be okay not handing that mantle over to Luka Doncic? But the Lakers, I think, taking that handle from him and handing it over to Luka Doncic. And I'm not saying the answer is no, and this is going to be a problem. I'm not saying the answer is no, and we are going to have some totes drama in Los Angeles, California. I'm saying I don't know what the answer is, because LeBron James has, through his entire 20 years, served in a certain role and capacity. And I think for any of us, if we did something for 20 years and then suddenly got told, hey, we are changing everything about your role, for a lot of guys, they would be unable to adapt and they would be walked off. A lot of guys would do their best to adapt, but would be effectively incapable of doing so. A very small percentage of people would be able to successfully adapt to that. I wonder where he falls on that spectrum. And I wonder where he falls on that spectrum because the Lakers, by handing out this contract, by drafting the guys that they were able to draft with the draft picks that they did not have to send to Dallas, which is only one of them, but there's only 2 rounds in the NBA draft. With the acquisition of DeAndre Ayton, so they have a legitimate 5 this year, not a couple of young guys that just haven't panned out yet. Not that DeAndre Ayton's like a top 4 center in the league, but there are certainly worse options that they could have ended up with. By making the moves that they've made, it does to some degree feel as if the Lakers believe that they are going to be capable of contending next year. And I don't think it's unfair. Again, what happened in the playoffs against Minnesota, to me, this season, was caused directly by the fact that they didn't have a 5. They made Rudy Gobert look like prime Kareem.
I believe that if that trade would have happened earlier, if they would have started the year out with Luka and LeBron together, they would have noticed that there were some needs that they needed to pick up, would have picked those things up by the end of the season before the playoffs, and they would have went further.
It's a possibility.
We're going to find out this year coming up, but I mean, they didn't have a long enough time to play together to get the kind of gelling that they should this year.
I think that is a very fair take.
Although they did try to get a center, and remember it fell through.
It did. They thought they had the kid out of Charlotte. Obviously that fell apart. They ended up just kind of having to roll with who they had to roll with, Jackson Hayes, etc. It didn't work out. I honestly think the reason that it did not work this year in the playoffs and Minnesota handed it to them was because they didn't have a 5. And as mentioned, when it came down to it, they made Rudy Gobert look like he was the best offensive big man in the world. And we all know, not only is he not, he's very, very, very far from it. So they seem to be in. But they will still need, even at 41 years of age, they will still need LeBron, to be as good of a player as he can be. And the question mark for me is, if Luka is indeed handed the reins, if Luka is indeed given control of the team this year, if the Lakers say, hey, you're the guy, you're our guy, it's your team now, and they say that too in front of whatever, LeBron James, does he acquiesce? Does he back off? Does he go, okay, you're right, this is his squad now, I'm going to fill the reserve role? Or does he look at this and say, no, bro, that's not why I came here. That's not what I signed up for. I am not here to be a role guy. I'm not here to be a backup guy. I'm here to be the guy. I don't know what the answer to that is. So this team just went from a team that could be interesting because they are with a full year to play around Luka. And, oh, by the way, Luka Doncic clearly setting up to go on the Luka Doncic 2025 U Dallas tour. I think they should be a powerhouse team. I think they should be, at the very least, a top-of-the-play-in team. Realistically, I think they should be a team that is contending to win to win the West this year. But if they indeed, for sure and for real, were to end up handing the mantle of Laker in chief to Luka Doncic, as it appears that they are and will LeBron be comfortable getting the hell out of the way, letting Luka be the guy and be a reserve guy for him? Or will they be pushback that creates a world where they're just not on the same page? I think it's a fair question to ask. 844-326-3663, 844-FANFONE. Whatever you want to get to on the way out, we get to it next in the final segment of the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
So they just posted a depth chart for the Chiefs for their preseason game with Arizona. And there's a name on there that I didn't realize went to the Chiefs. And I'm actually pretty excited about it, and it's going to surprise you. And that's Jake Brenningstool.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't realize that he went there. I thought he was a highlight for Clemson, big time. And what a cool deal for him to be behind Travis Kelce and learn from him.
He got picked up UDFA.
Yeah, it doesn't mean he's going to make the team,
No,
but I think he might be good enough to make the team. They have a bunch of tight ends, but still. He's not going to supplant Noah Gray because Noah Gray is way too good, sure. but he could be that number 3. Did you see the phone? I don't know if this is real or not. Disney reportedly scrapped a plan to use an actual AI character in Tron Ares due to concerns of bad publicity. I think if you're going to use an AI character in a movie, Tron would be the movie to use it in because they're all AI. I'm just,
Mary Kay Cabot is a reporter who covers the Browns. She's kind of big in the NFL coverage market. She was giving a speech somewhere this weekend when she used to cover the Patriots. And she said, quote, "I totally understand why Bill Belichick gave me such a hard time. I was 28 at the time, and he just couldn't relate to a woman that old." Beauty.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw this over the weekend. We talked about it a little bit. Liam Neeson saying that Qui-Gon Jinn's death was not befitting of a Jedi Master. There's no way that he would have went for the look up here and then get hit in the stomach.
I mean, sure, but I think it's also
He never fought, and none of them had fought a Sith before.
right. I was going to say, I think it's huge to acknowledge that not just was Darth Maul a Sith, but he was arguably the best straight, pure hand-to-hand fighting Sith in the game. There wasn't a lot of force tricks with him. He just beat you. Eight 844-326-3663, 844-FANFONE. That's the number to get on the show. It's the number to text the Hub City Spartan Burgers text line, 844-326-3663. Kev, kind enough to hold through the break, wants to talk a little bit about his LA Lakers before we get to our last few topics and call it a day. Kev, welcome back, big fella. Good to have you.
My dudes, man, what's happening?
You listening to it, brother?
Dog, hey, man, let me tell you something. We can talk good about what Luka's doing and being on the front of the magazine and LeBron 21st season. We are not going anywhere until we get consistent center play. Like, we can get everybody we want to get. Lakers is history. It's known. Center play. Showing out. Throwing shots in the third row. 30 points, 15 bounds. You got to go get that. 2020, we had that. Ever since then, we have not had it. Nowhere near it. So, in like point guard play, center play, that's big for us. LeBron can't play that no more. He can't be everywhere all game long. He need to almost come off the bench and find us some consistency. And then we can go in the playoffs and he can release and may at least play for a chip his last 1 or 2 years, one of them. But until we get center play, we can cancel life.
DeAndre Ayton, not the guy you think can get there.
He ain't gonna. He may do all right unless, like I said, unless he's been put up in the stable somewhere and he finally finna come out the stable and get loose. I don't see it.
Fair enough. I listen. I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all. I think that Luka at the kind of power point guard spot, LeBron on the swing. That's what I said when you guys picked up Luka. That was my take. I think you put LeBron back where he needs to be, specifically at this point in his career. That is at the kind of power / position. Give him the opportunity to play off ball. Give the opportunity for other guys to open up the floor for him, then swing it to him and let him do what he does. But that does rely on having a 5 that somebody's afraid of. And with Rudy Gobert, and again, like I know I was talking about how they made Rudy look on offense in that series last year.
Right.
The reality of the situation is, regardless of your take on Rudy Gobert, he is the best defensive big man in the game. So if I've got him down there, and you don't have a guy at the 5 who's a threat with the basketball, if I'm the T-Wolves, I'm like, yo, throw everybody wherever the ball is, because unless they put 3 in the box, Rudy's got this on lockdown. Problem is, there's a lot of good defensive centers this year. If you don't have a threat at the 5, man, I could trot out Iverson, Jordan, Pippen. It doesn't matter. You're not winning any games.
Right. We couldn't stop Minnesota from slashing to the rim last year. We got to stop that, man. You need 2 centers or a 4 and a 5 down there. You need the Twin Towers back. Some type of way, you need somebody who can protect this rim, man, and make people scared to come down there and get up and dunk and all that. You got to have it. Until then, like I say, we second round, maybe this year. But to get back where we need to be, we got to get tough down low again.
Not wrong, Kev. Appreciate it, brother. Good to talk to you. Welcome back. Welcome anytime. 844-326-3663. All right, a couple of stories I wanted to get out of the way before we get out of the way for the day. Zoe, I just sent something to your DMs that I'm going to have you go look at while I talk about it and get set up for the take. The Associated Press sent out a tweet just a little while ago. Robot teams from China and other countries are preparing for the inaugural World Humanoid Robot Games, which are scheduled to take place between August 14th through 17th in Beijing. 30 robot teams have been registered to play in the World Humanoid Robot Games soccer tournament. According to the organizers, 30 international teams were invited to build humanoid robots and then program them to get on the pitch and play footy against each other. And we will hand out a Robot World Cup, I guess, champion. And as I watch this video, because it's not exactly like they're going to be threatening Leo Messi's job.
I've been seeing this for a while. A bunch of this stuff was posting last week. Them falling down is hilarious. But I hate to interrupt, but this might be the only chance that the U.S. ever has of winning a World Cup. So this is this is good news for us.
I'd like to congratulate Lonzo because I brought this story up to aggravate him, and instead what happened is he aggravated me. Well done. I want you to know, and this is not a joke. God, I hope this is on YouTube because I'm going to watch every match.
I'll watch
every match.
The question is, does America import a European person to program our players so we could actually win?
That's a great question. It's a great question. It is also a if this becomes a thing, and by the way, it 1,000% is. If this becomes a thing,
we've all seen cartoons and things like that where the robots are doing all this stuff. Of course, it's going to be a thing.
I think it is. If this becomes a thing, here's the next question. Historically, the arms and tech races that have taken place around the world are largely won by the United States because we have historically brought in international talent to both be educated by us and to educate us in the ways of the world. As we have talked about before, a large chunk of the atomic race to get to the bomb first, to end World War II. A lot of that was only successful because we brought in Nazi scientists and said, look, if you will get us to where we need to be able to end this world war, we will give you some level of immunity from what you did. Like, that is historically where it's been. Are we there still? Is this something that we will be willing to say? The United States has always been a place that is welcoming and open to talent from around the world to come here and make us better by helping make them better. Is this something we're going to put together top men to be able to build the world's greatest soccer team that's made of robots? I hope so.
I just hope that our team's aggressive and well-conditioned and is able to get up on their own when they get knocked out.
I want bloodthirsty robots.
Absolutely.
Bloodthirsty robots. All right? Here's what I need. I need you to take AI. I need you to filter into that AI. Like, have it watch, not the game. I need you to send a camera crew to, like, LSU, Alabama on a Saturday night in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. After all the Tigers fans are good and liquored up, I need you to take 1,000 hours of that attitude, that mentality. I need you to feed it into AI, and I need you to tell the robot computers, we want you to learn and understand and get this level of absolute psychopathy, and I want you to take it out on Team France, Germany, Italy, China. I want you to go decimate them.
Here's the thing. All right, so you're playing the theme from China or somewhere else, and then suddenly you hear America's theme. And out comes a team full of Terminators without the Arnold skin on them. Ready to go, ready to play, ready to win the World Cup.
The walkout music is intense. Have one of the robots come out, but like instead of arms, he's got flamethrowers. Have one of the robots come out instead of a robot. He like Transformers into a monster truck, starts hauling ass, doing donuts around the field.
As long as the Japanese team doesn't come out with those new Japanese robots that look like humans, and they're all like anime women that walk. I don't know if you.
I have not seen this.
Oh, you should see how real and they've created living skin already. So, it's okay.
Have one of the robots come out, and instead of arms, he has hot dog and T-shirt cannons, shooting them into the crowd. Like, this is the potentials here is amazing. Is amazing. I can't wait.
I just want to win, so I'm willing to deal with Terminators and the destruction of all mankind as long as we win the World Cup first.
Yeah, I mean, if the AI robot takeover is going to happen, let it start with an American gold medal in the first ever Robot World Cup.
There we go.
We are here for robot victory and domination. If they dominate us later, it's a sacrifice we may have to make.
That's fine. We get to hang that banner first. I mean, and also, I guess it would be an actual cup. So
25 years from now, when the world is a nuclear winter wasteland, and we're all sheltered around a fire out there hunting radioactive saber-toothed tigers for sport, we will gather around said campfire and say, the world's falling apart. It's nothing but death and destruction. And we are Robot World Cup champions.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
a little dramatic, but hey, I was there for it. All right, the first thing that's Xing is someone you're familiar with, Sabrina Carpenter.
I am familiar with Sabrina Carpenter. She's a wonderful pop artist, if that's your bag, if that's your thing. I have no idea why she's trending, though.
At Lollapalooza, she brought out Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Earth, Wind, and Fire sang my wedding reception song, by the way.
Yeah, which is why another reason why I put this on the list.
Love
because
that.
I thought you'd be interested in checking that out.
Will they play?
I do believe they played September, and I think they played something else. I
Hell
forget
yeah.
what the other thing is.
We got married on September 21st, so that's why it was our wedding song. For those of you going, what the hell? Why Earth, Wind, and Fire? That's why.
All right, the next thing that's Xing, this is very controversial, especially for one Rob Brown. Next thing is Xing is Miracle Whip.
Miracle Whip's gross. All right, I'm sorry. I don't mean to bring the ire down on those of you who love Miracle Whip. It's just not good. There's just no world in which if you are gonna eat Miracle Whip, just run an extra mile and eat mayo. They make fat-free mayo. It's still not great for you, but fat-free mayo is better than Miracle Whip. Why is that a thing?
The debate has been brought up again. There are 4 different brands of mayonnaise, and people are picking. And there are people who love Miracle Whip and people who want to catch it on fire.
I will agree with that.
Yeah.
I will agree. It is absolutely one of the most polarizing foods out there. There is nobody.
It was Hellman's, Duke's, Miracle Whip, and some other brand I'd never heard of.
Well, we
before.
all know the winner's Dukes, but
Hellman's
there is no. I don't know that there is a more polarizing food than Miracle Whip, because with everything else, it's like most people are going to be like, take it or leave it. I get mayo. Yeah, I prefer Dukes, but if they're like, it's Hellman's, all right, sure, fine. Is Miracle Whip okay? Is a punch in the nose okay? Because that's what's going to happen if you put Miracle Whip on my sandwich. There's nobody who's like, meh, on Miracle Whip.
Yeah, I don't care. It's mayonnaise. All right.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's not.
Okay, all right, fine.
If it was mayonnaise, what would they call it? Not Miracle Whip.
Okay.
Nobody
fine.
says, would you like some Miracle Whip mayo?
All right.
No, because it's not mayo.
I did look it up, and it's classified as a salad dressing. So, I mean, if you want salad dressing on your burger.
Do you know why? Because it's not mayo.
Okay. The next thing that's Xing is Lonnie Anderson.
It's mayo simulating cream at the best.
Do you know who Lonnie Anderson is?
I feel like the name's very familiar, and I should, and I'm going to be
All right.
embarrassed that I don't. She's an actress?
She was an actress. She passed away. She was in WKRP in Cincinnati, which, as a radio person, you have to at least watch an episode.
Yeah,
of
I've watched
that.
a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
Yeah, she was also married to Burt Reynolds at one point. But she's very, very famous for people of my generation, I guess.
Very nice.
Yes.
I do not. Outside of that show, unfamiliar, but sad day.
She was very pretty. I took a chance. All right, next thing that's Xing is Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar is back because after The absolute dumbest payoff in history of a wrestling storyline coming to its conclusion last night with John Cena's heel turn and then absolutely no reason for it. Face turn, Bork came out.
You're never happy. That's
Dude,
yeah,
were you happy with how that worked out?
Here's the reason why, because I kept waiting for the Cody turn and it didn't happen, which means I was surprised, which is what they wanted you to do. They pushed a Cody turn the entire time. It didn't happen. So.
When John came out on Friday and his whole promo was, I'm not a heel anymore because reasons. That was dumb as hell. I'm sorry. John made absolute diamonds out of horse crap after Dwayne screwed everything up. But the Friday Night SmackDown, I'm not a heel anymore.
By
Why?
the way,
reasons.
If you wanted to, if you want to smack Dwayne in the mouth, you do this. Because it made everything that he did just, ridiculous.
No, he made everything he did ridiculous. All
Dwayne
he had to
did.
do was show back up, and it would have been fine.
Yeah,
that's what
fine.
I'm saying.
He didn't, so they had to move
Yes.
on. And there's nothing more moving on like acting like everything you did was irrelevant.
They just retconned in the dumbest possible way.
All right, finally, the last thing it's axing is Rhea Ripley, and not for the reason you think.
It doesn't matter what the reason is.
All right, the reason is, well, first of all, loser, as usual. The second of all, there's video of her picking up EO and carrying her all the way out of the arena after the match, and EO's laughing her butt off the whole way through. You should watch it. It's funny.
Rhea Ripley, loser at SummerSlam, winner of my heart. That's it for us. Y'all have a great rest of your Monday.
Hard to win your heart. I mean, I don't know.
No, the list is like my mother, my wife, and Rhea Ripley. And Blondie back in the day. Blondie was on that list early in my career.
Blondie.
Yeah, I think we all do. Hey, that's it for us. Have a great rest of your day. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the back. I'll punch you in the face. See you back here tomorrow. I'll punch you in the back. I might. See you back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but way better than the last 10 seconds on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Later.
I'll punch you in the back, punk. That's what you get for saying that about my clothesline. There's no difference. I clothesline someone in the back, and you punched them in the back. We still hit them in the back. You know who Blondie is, but not Lonnie Anderson.
Lonnie Anderson was before Blondie.
No, they hit right at the same time in the 70s.
I was a music guy before TV guy. All right, boys and girls, that's it for us. Thank you all for being here. Hope you enjoyed the show. I appreciate you hopefully enjoying the show. Have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Tell your friends about us so we can retire. Bye.